Good morning. It's now time for another edition of Freedom with Steve Nichols. Brought to you in part by Sam Dennis Law, personal injury attorney, methodical, prepared, and battle ready. And by Kilby Family and Cosmetic Dentistry, dental care for the whole family. Now, available on Facebook, YouTube, Discord, and freedomnetworks.com each weekday morning from 6 a.m. to 9 a.m. Here's your host and last best hope for freedom, Steve Nichols.
Hi, good morning, everybody. This fine Monday morning, August the 8th. Good morning, broadcasting live as we always do from the SGAwater.com studio in Valdosta, Georgia. Appreciate you tuning in. Go to SGAwater.com and schedule that free water test so that you'll know what's in that water. After all, you drink it, you brush your teeth with it, you bathe in it, you cook with it. You need to know what's in it. Make sure it's safe for you and your house and all your family. We also do the pledge and the prayer to start each and every day here on Freedom with Steve Nichols. That's brought to you by Ross Automotive, 432 Connell Road, right here in Valdosta. If there's anything going on with your car, whether it's routine maintenance or there's an issue, you need to start with Ross Automotive first. I sent a guy by there on Friday. Ramon got him right in there and fixed his problem, and he happened to be a veteran, U.S. Navy veteran, and Ramon treated him right like he does all his customers. So it's just a comfort knowing what you get when you go there. So whether it's a small problem or a big problem, he'll give you a 10% discount if you are a veteran or currently serving in the military. So get by there today. They're open till 6 p.m. Monday through Friday. So y'all give them a shot. They're also looking for some technicians. If you have, if you're in the automobile repair line of work, if you're a mechanic or you're looking for a change or you're just looking for a job, give Ross Automotive a call. Tell him Steve Nichols from Freedom with Steve Nichols sent you. All right, let's do the pledge and the prayer and get started today. Dear Heavenly Father, thank you so much for our lives, Lord. Thank you for this weekend. What a wonderful weekend, Lord. Thank you for the rain. Thank you for the kids getting off to a great start on Friday, Lord. We continue to pray for them and all the personnel that makes the school system go. May they have a great year. May they have a good start to the year, Lord. Praying for all those who start back this week to get off to a great start. Lord, special prayer for my granddaughter as she enters I guess little girl school. She's 3 years old, about to be 4 in October, and she'll be going to open house today and starting her school career this week. Special prayer for little Gracie. Lord, just be with us as we go about our days. Guide us, protect us. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen. All right, let's say the pledge. Excuse me. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, what's on your mind this morning? You can let me know by calling 229-469-1417. That is the Valdosta Transmission Hotline. So give it a call. If there's something on your mind, we'll get off to a good start today, I'm quite sure. Lots to talk about in the news, as there always is coming out of a weekend. Also Saturday, Glenn, he did his thing on the Boston Butts, and Wade Stovey was representing Vets and Cops Outdoors. That's who we raised the money for, and Mary and John Carroll and Chris, they all picked up their butts, and I had one too, and I donated to Wade there, but I don't know exactly how much money was raised, but I do appreciate everybody picking up their meet up and supporting a worthy cause. And I see Mary logged on here this morning on Facebook. I appreciate you, Mary. I appreciate Chris Ward. I see that they're on there, and I just appreciate what y'all did, and it goes to a worthy cause. And Glenn, especially thank you for slaving away on the grill that morning and getting it done, and it was just good. I ate a bunch of it already. I hadn't wiped it all the way out, but I put a hurting on it, so it was good. It was good stuff. So thank you. The Republicans are promising a payback for raising taxes on Americans after Senate passes the social spending bill. Still got to pass the House, but with the numbers that they have in the House, it should fly through like it's on rails. So we're going to have they call it the Inflation Reduction Act, and all weekend long, when it looked like it was going to pass, and then it did pass the Senate, I started getting all the emails, all the messages, and people saying, "Well, what exactly is this going to do to us?" And the thing is, you don't really know. It's according to who you listen to. If you listen to people on the right, it's going to devastate the economy. If you listen to people on the left, it's going to save the planet, save the economy, and it's always somewhere in between. Most of the time, anyway. It's hard to get a grip for me. Now, I've looked at it. I haven't spent hours and hours on it, but I looked at it pretty hard, and I'm trying to figure out exactly what it's going to do. And about the only thing that the only thing I know for sure is that the IRS is going to have a lot of money to spend in enforcing tax code. So if you owe the IRS money, they're going to come after you, and they're going to come get you. Now, it don't matter to me because they already got me. They already came after me, and they got me, and I'm dealing with them currently. And I think I know why, which is sad. But at any rate, we'll get through all that. And, the climate stuff, as I read it, as just a logical person who leans right. Now, granted, you can't get away from your lean, whether you lean right or left. You got that lean, and I've got a lean. I lean right. So when I look at it on the climate part of it, the thing that sticks out at me the most is the fact that big battery is what I call those. You have big oil, which are the cars that burn gas and oil and diesel and things like that. Then you got big battery who runs off a battery and recharging and stuff like that. So you got people that make a crap ton of money selling gas, oil, and diesel. Well, you got a people that make a crap ton of money and is poised to take over a bigger chunk of that market due to this bill, and they're going to get richer and richer and richer. Now, these incentives, you got to understand something. They get a consumer gets a huge incentive to buy an electric vehicle. Okay. They get a $7,500 rebate. The manufacturer is going to benefit from that because it applies to the first 200,000 cars in each line of electric vehicles. So if you have a Chevy vehicle or a Ford, a Tesla, they all get up to 200,000 vehicles that get this $7,500 credit. Now, what does that do? That sells them 200,000 electric vehicles that they make money on. Okay. So they're going to get richer and richer and richer. The people that make the energy, the solar panels, the windmills, the lithium battery mining companies, all these companies are related and connected to big battery are about to get rich. So when I guess the snow job or the con game that the Democrats always pay, that they're against the rich people. No, they're not. They're about to create a bunch of rich, rich, rich people. Okay, now to counteract that, they say that they're going to charge a 15% tax on those who are billionaires who make $1 billion or more annually. They're going to have to pay 15%. Now, folks, that's excuse me, that sounds like a lot of money to me and you. Okay, it does. It sounds like a crap ton of money. It is a crap ton of money to me and you. As far as the country goes, we are asshole deep in debt. I'm sorry. That's the only way to put it. We're that deep into debt. We are adding $2 million in debt every 1 minute. Okay. Maybe 2 minutes. I can't even count it, but it's crazy. It is absolutely crazy. So to take, what is it? I think about $300 $300 billion from a lot of that's $150 million at a time from the billionaires, according to their math. So I'm just, as a logical person, how's that going to make any difference? Okay, how is that going to make any difference? Now, as bad as this one is, it still pales in the comparison. The $3.5 trillion deal that they were trying to get. Then they slimmed it down like a $1.75 trillion plan. Now it's down below $1 trillion. Now I think, and that's supposed to be some sort of win. I don't know. Anyway, we'll see. I don't know. I mean, I don't see that it's going to do anything. At best, it's not going to do anything. Yeah, there may be some prescription drugs that Medicare is allowed now to negotiate the price of certain drugs, and then they put a $2,000 a year cap on it. So, if y'all don't mind me telling you, if there's people out here listed, I know there are, that's on Medicare. Is there anybody out there spending more than $2,000 a year on prescription drugs? Just a simple yes or no. Because if there is, then you're going to probably like this provision. It's going to cap what you pay out of pocket at $2,000. So if you're paying currently over $2,000, it's going to be good for you. It's $2,000. That's the cap. Now, it's going to take a while for this to happen. Okay, it's going to take a while for them to start negotiating these prices. And it's only 10 drugs. This is another thing too. I mean, I don't know. Okay, Abby says yes. Abby, are you on Medicare? Because you're not old enough to get Medicare, I don't think, or are you? So anyway, it's 10 drugs by 2026, another 15 drugs by 2027, and then another 15 drugs in 2028. The number would rise to 20 drugs a year for 20 and 29 and beyond. So I don't know why they're phasing that in like that. I don't know what the logic behind this. The controversial provision is far more limited than the one House Democratic leaders have backed in the past, but it would open the door to fulfilling a longstanding party goal of allowing Medicare to use its heft to lower drug costs. Okay, so disability is covered under Medicare or Medicaid? I don't know. I'm asking. Abby says yes from disability and diabetes. So if it is, she'll save money if the negotiation is if it's right. Okay, Mary Claire, you can have Medicare when receiving disability after a 24-month waiting period. Okay, I didn't know that. Good job, good deal. Medicare. Okay, I got it now. All right. So if the drug that you have is in the first 10, Abby, that you can expect that to go into effect in 2026. So it's 2022 now. So it's going to take them 4 years to get you any help whatsoever if they're successful in negotiating the price. Now, T-Rex, he says, negotiation is Medicare will tell them what they will pay, negotiation over. So if that's the case, then the company making the drug can make the decision whether or not it's profitable or not, and they'll either keep making it or quit making it. Then will the government force them to? Will they take it over? I don't know. So anyway, at the earliest, somebody like Abby who needs help, the earliest she's going to receive it is 2026 at the earliest, if she's on one of the 10 drugs out of the myriad of drugs out there that's going to be negotiated. Now, will it? I don't know. Diabetes is a very serious problem, so I would suspect maybe it will be. We'll see. I mean, but the problem is we got to wait 4 more years before we can see if that even helps. Inflation cap. The legislation would also impose penalties on drug companies if they increase their prices faster than inflation. However, the parliamentarian ruled that the provision could only apply to Medicare, not the private insurance market as well. See, this is going to drive. This is pushing people to government-run health care because they're going to they're trying. It's some sort of attempt maybe to make it look more attractive. So we'll see. Limit on Medicare out-of-pocket drug costs. The bill would redesign Medicare's Part D drug plan so that seniors and people with disabilities wouldn't pay more than $2,000 a year for medications bought at the pharmacy. Insurers and drug makers would have to pick up more of the tab. So what's going to happen if the insurers and drug makers pick up more of the tab? They're going to raise the cost on other drugs that other people buy. That's as plain as a nose on your face right there. So that's going to backfire. Not to mention the fact they're going to raise the prices 15% across the board to pass on the government's 15% tax to you. That's how that works. Free vaccines for seniors. Medicare enrollees would be able to get all vaccines at no cost. Right now, only certain vaccines, such as those for COVID-19, the flu, and pneumonia, are free. What other vaccines are there? The shingles vaccine, I guess. The monkeypox vaccine. I don't know. Affordable Care Act subsidies. It just don't go away, even though the Republicans told us that they would. Remember, Donald Trump said he'd get rid of it. He didn't. Democrats are also looking at extending the enhanced federal premium subsidies for Obamacare coverage through 2025, a year later than lawmakers recently discussed. That way they wouldn't expire just after the 2024 presidential election. The subsidies were expanded through this year as part of Democrats' $1.9 trillion coronavirus relief package, known as the American Rescue Plan, which was enacted in March of 2021. Enrollees pay no more than 8.5% of their income toward coverage, down from nearly 10%. And lower income policyholders receive subsidies that eliminate their premiums completely. Also, now all this coming out of our pocket and the pockets of this is the parts that they don't understand or they don't tell you, that everybody's taxes are going up on this. Now, granted, it ain't going up much. I'll give you 1.5% at the $10,000 level, about 2% when you get up to 50,000, and then on and on and on. But everybody's taxes are going up. Everybody. Okay, there's nobody immune to this. Everybody's going up a little bit. People you have to pay for these kind of freebies, right? You can't pull it out of thin air, regardless of what we say. All right, now this will go towards this conversation will go towards what Abby faces. Cheaper insulin. Democrats added a provision to the bill that would cap what Americans pay for insulin at $35 a month in Medicare and the private insurance market. So they're actually instituting, it looks like, if I'm understanding it correctly, a blanket cost across the board for what people pay for insulin. So it doesn't matter if they're in the private insurance market or on Medicare, you as the consumer is going to pay $35 a month. Now, my question is insulin, and this is directed to Abby, somebody that has said that she's taken or has diabetes. I'm assuming you're on insulin, maybe. Is insulin? In other words, is there a different grades of it, or what is it? Is all insulin, and it all costs the same? And if it does, what is the cost, or what do you pay per month for your insulin? Because it's going to be capped at $35. I'm just interested. Does anybody know what the cost of insulin per month is? I know it's probably, I know you probably take different doses and different people spend more, but what I'm trying to, Lee says, I'm on Entresto. The price is killing me. Do you need a letter from your doctor or any other documentation? how much is Entresto costing you per month, Lee? Is that insulin? I guess it is. How much does it cost you per month, if you don't mind me asking? If you don't want to say it, that's okay too. It won't be. I'm trying to establish a baseline here. $35. Is that cheap? Or is it more? I mean, do you normally pay $100 a month, 200, 300? I don't know what's the, nobody's answering the question, so I don't know. So here's where I'm getting at with that. If they normally sell it for $100 a month, and the government's saying they only can sell it for $35, guess what they're going to quit making it if it's not profitable. And then the government's got to step in and say, yes, you will make it. Help me out here, Troy. You says it costs hundreds of dollars if you have to, but it. I don't know what that means. Anyway, not getting anywhere with my discussion on that. We'll move on. Let's read okay, Abby says $300 a month, so she'll only pay $35 a month. So that's great for Abby. But my question is this. This is my question. If Abby's having to pay $300 a month, is that for one insulin? Is that one brand of insulin, Abby? Because if this going to go from $300 a month to $35 a month, what's going to keep them making it? Does that make any sense? Yeah, hold on just a second. I know you're on the line. I got to switch my thing here. So headset. Good morning, caller. You are on the Valdosta Transmission Hotline. What's on your mind?
Turn your headset on there, Steve.
It's on loud and clear, brother. Help me out on this insulin.
Gotcha.
Help me out on this insulin stuff. Abby says she pays $300 a month. So is Abby paying $300 a month for one brand of insulin, one insulin? Is that what she's paying a month for her insulin? I mean, help me out.
Yeah, probably. It's all competitively priced. I don't know that much about pharmacology, but I can tell you this about it. This much I know is that the more you need it, and the more desperate you are for it, and they get the market cornered like an insulin. There's only one way to make it. It's a biological product. It's not a formulated chemical. You're going to pay through the nose on it. Right. They're going to dictate how much, and the R&D has been paid for years ago on it. So it's all profit. Mm-hmm. They are profiteers. If a new drug comes out, I was on something called Jardiance for my type 2 borderline diabetes. Mm-hmm. And when I lost my job at the state, or when I moved from the state, moved to a new job, I was on the hook to pay it. That stuff was $380 a month. Hell, okay. Baptist wouldn't even pay for it. My new insurance. That's when I went down there for the heart thing, and they were trying to get me on insulin. And I rebuffed that. I wouldn't go on insulin.
So now this bill's going to cap it at $35 a month. So you won't have to pay $300. You'll have to pay $35. So my question is if these, you call them profiteers, and that's not an ugly word to me. I mean, they did it. They created it. They did the R&D. They marketed it. They did it. If they can get $380, more power to them. However, can they make money at $35 a month, or are they going to quit making insulin? That's my question.
They won't quit making insulin. I mean, the government could make it, I guess. Most of it's made overseas, from what I know, but they won't quit making it because they have other drugs they sell. But the game that I see in pharmacology is that when a new drug comes out, like I was on a newer one, the Jardia, they come out. It is very expensive at first when it's out of the gate, new for the first few years, because it's an unknown. They don't do the clinical trials long enough, and there's could be down the road lawsuits that they're going to have to pay for if there's contraindications or side effects unforeseen until it runs for a few years. So it comes out of the gate real high, and then it comes down in price over the years. But that's the game that I see in in pharmaceuticals. And something like insulin, there's just nothing else to compete with it. There's no replacement for it. They've got the market cornered. We talked about TPA a few weeks ago. Same thing there. It's the only FDA approved drug for ischemic stroke. So it doesn't matter that the R&D is paid for. It doesn't matter it's made out of hamster ovaries and salt water. It's $7,000 a dose, period.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because if you don't get it, you die. What are you willing to pay for you or your child to live, or your loved one, wife, whatever?
Yeah.
Everything you've got. And they know that. So that's the game. That's the unbridled capitalism versus the social aspect of it, trying to get everybody to pay the same at the expense of the corporation. And I guess the trick is to somehow find a balance between it. Good luck.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know why none of this is really going to take effect as I read through it until on the drug part in any significant way until 2026. That's 4 years from now. It's interesting to me that it's phased in over that period of time. And I think that's part of what makes the Congressional Budget Office so jumpy about it. I mean, they don't like this bill. The CBO doesn't. It's a bipartisan group, and they don't like it. I mean, the CBO has been loathed and hated by the Democrats and the Republicans when they were in power passing bills for decades. Okay, the CBO hates this bill. They said it's not a good bill and it's purely political. And I just don't know. I mean, it's hard for me to decipher and look into the future when these things are put in place 4 years down the road. I don't find it very easy at all to predict its impact 4 years from now.
Yeah. I tell you what scares me, what little bit I've read about it, is what the hell is in this climate change security measure? Boy, isn't that a loaded word, a loaded term.
Well, the next step, and I don't know when it'll come, but I believe it will come, is we're going to see the administration declare a climate emergency. And when that happens, that's going to be a game changer. That's going to be a game changer. That's going to have a direct impact.
Summary execution if you don't have a windmill in your yard. What the hell does that even mean? Emergency powers are scary things.
Yeah, they are. I mean, it gives them latitude to do anything. It could be to force you to turn your thermostat off through certain periods of day, or put it to where you can't. You know, they got the smart meters now. They can probably dial into your house and prevent you from putting your thermostat on anything below a certain amount of a certain temperature. It could open Pandora's box.
You can't get them back in, but you kick the box over in the river, I guess. I sent you a link. I heard a story last night on the radio, so I took some time to look that up, and I sent you a link. And I think what this young lady says encapsulates everything you're trying to do on this show and a lot of the themes that you've discussed. I don't know if you've heard it. Have you heard that Harvard student who discusses her experience in Tel Aviv when she went there with, I think, 100 other Harvard students to the dinner at, I don't know if it was at the Knesset, but a rabbi hosted a dinner for them with dignitaries, and what happened at that meeting?
It's been sent to me multiple times. I just have not taken time to look at it. Like I see it on my text message. I'll try to make it a point to look at it today.
You should play that on the air, because that is everything you're talking about and everything that's wrong with this country. I tell you, I heard it last night. I was foggy in bed, and I stood up in the edge of the bed and listened to that about 5 minutes, and she hits it on the head.
Problem is, I can't. If it's on YouTube, I can't play it on there because they'll neuter me.
Boy, I love it, which goes right back to the themes she's talking about.
Yeah.
But it's really good. You should listen. You could paraphrase it, and you can build a dialogue around it.
Sure.
Because I think what she says is a lot of what you said on this show.
Mm-hmm.
She just says it with a Harvard mouth, and it sounds good. But I mean, she made me aware of some things that I wasn't aware of, things that have been going on in the country, and it makes you wonder what else is going on. But I just think the sum total of it is this for me. We're passing country off to another generation here, another 25 years, and they're not prepared to hold on to what they're going to be given.
No,
And
it's it's an emotional reaction, not a principled reaction, and you're right. I mean, we're passing the torch from what remaining principles we may have to those who have none, who just simply think that, well, we all ought to have insurance. We all ought to be taken care of. We all have the right to insulin. We all that they have that good, wholesome. They want to do good for their fellow man attitude, which is fine. But you cannot. It's got to work within a framework of principles, or it won't work. It won't work.
Man, we've lost that somehow.
Yeah.
And
nobody
really
seems to slow down and think that there's something wrong. Is it wrong for me to take something from you against your will? Yeah, it is. And that one it's not small, that one principle seems to have just gone out the window when it comes to someone who is suffering from a health ailment that causes them to have to pay exorbitant amounts of money just to live. Okay, they've got to have the medication, right, to live, and they don't mind. They themselves are uncomfortable with stealing Troy's money to accomplish it. But if they can use a third party like the government to steal your money to get them their medication, they ain't got no problem with that.
Well, I think what ticks me off is I believe we have the resources in this country to set up some type of, which is what we have now, a hybrid healthcare payment system. Let's just face it, that's what it is. It's a hybrid system, part free market, part socialized. It's been my argument for years. And it just needs to be re-engineered because it kind of evolved. It evolves through the imperfection of legislation like this crap we just saw going through these two houses. Mm-hmm. And how much thought could be put into this, Steve?
Not enough in that short period of time.
Put some. Did they pencil whip this at all, or did they just dream this up over a few nights?
Well, no, this is the culmination of thoughts that's been in their minds for years, literal years. It's just they've had versions of this stuff. I mean, all this right here was in the first Build Back Better thing. Okay, this is a scaled down version that they've been arguing over, for 2 years now. But all these thoughts on drug, how to handle drug costs and things like that, the affordable health. Look how long we've been talking about the Affordable Health Care Act back in the Obama administration, So you're talking about what, 8, 12, 14, 15 years ago. This is not new. It's just not new. This has been talked about. All these things have been talked about in some shape, form, or fashion. Now they've evolved and gotten bigger and deeper over that time, but there's nothing new in here. Trust me, they've had this on their mind for quite some time.
Oh yeah, I know they have, and I'm sure there's some elements that do want to, that have an earnest desire, if you will, to deliver a better product to the American people. But there's others I think that just want to simply, it's another opportunity to destroy another free market aspect of our economy. Mm-hmm. And yeah.
Well, it's viewed as a political win, for a lot. I agree with you. I think there are a lot of probably a lot of people in Congress, maybe in the Senate, I don't know, but definitely in the Congress that they're just really struggling to try to figure out a better way to help people. And they're pure. I get it. But then there's this other faction that they just want a political win. I mean, when you read the headlines, I mean, look at the, listen to this headline: Vow of Vengeance. Republicans promise payback for raising taxes on Americans after Senate passes social spending bill. Let me tell you something. The Republicans don't give a damn about taxes, man. All you got they don't care about money and taxes and debt and deficit. Look, I mean, the majority of what's on the U.S. debt clock can be attributed to the last administration. Don't tell me you care about money. That's a political statement. That's simply put out there to make sure that you understand that Democrats are bad and Republicans are good. And when the ballot is in front of you in November, pull the R. Okay. That's what this is about on the Democrat side too. Hey, we did it. We passed legislation. We beat them damn Republicans. We had to use the Kamala Harris to break the tiebreaker. That's why we need this. We can't afford this, folks. We got to flip the Senate. We got to get some Democrats in there. Y'all got to vote D at the ballot box. This is all political bullshit. It really is. They don't care about me and you. The most of them don't.
And I think, and this goes right back to what that young lady published on YouTube, which is just a lack of pride in this country, and a lot of the lack of the pride that we see in young people with this country. I think you can trace right back to this duopoly that you always talk about at each other's throats. You're forced to pick a side, and it's had a bad impact on nationalism, the spirit of nationalism in this country, and so anyway, I'll be dead and gone when it probably all really comes to the full head. But it doesn't, that if you listen to what she says, it paints a grim picture for the next 50 years of this country, I think, when you consider where these young people came from, one of our best schools in this country, representing us overseas and given the opportunity to stand up and show your appreciation for this country, and everybody sit on their ass and remain mute.
Yep.
And that says it all. That's what's coming behind us as leaders.
No doubt. No doubt about it.
Oh, well. All I know is I'm going to catch me some fish, do a little hunting these last 20, 30 years of my life, and then, they can figure it out. Your kids can figure it out, Steve.
Yeah. Good luck. Appreciate it, brother.
Good luck.
All right.
Yeah, man.
See you later. 229-469-1417, the Valdosta Transmission Hotline. The climate provisions. The deal will be the biggest climate investment in U.S. history. It would slash greenhouse gas emissions by 40%. And that's here in the United States. If y'all ever when's the last time you worked at you looked at a globe? If you look at a globe, the United States takes up about 1% of the globe in landmass. I'm guessing they could be 1-2%. I don't know. The point is, when you look at that big old globe, you see how small the United States is. Meanwhile, you got China, India, Germany, the UK, Brazil, Korea, South Korea, North Korea. You got all these countries, these industrialized nations just pumping stuff, smoke and emissions, and you got cows farting in all 7 continents, not just the United States or North America. If we slash U.S. greenhouse gas emissions by 40% by 2030, what have we done in the grand scheme of things? Nothing. The new agreement spans everything from electric vehicle tax credits to clean energy manufacturing to investments in environmental justice communities. This is all designed to make big battery and big climate rich. Extending tax credits for EVs made it in. After previous opposition from Manchin, the tax credits would continue at their current levels up to $4,000 for a used electric vehicle and $7,500 for a new one. However, the income threshold for eligibility would be lowered, a key demand of Manchin's. So what does that mean? I guess if you make a certain amount of money, you don't get the tax credit. Is that what that means? I don't really know. The bill also contains a 10-year consumer tax credit to bring down the cost of heat pumps, rooftop solar, electric HVAC, and water heaters. It includes $60 billion for funding for environmental justice communities and for the reduction of legacy pollution. It puts $60 billion towards domestic clean energy manufacturing and $30 billion for a production credit tax for wind, solar, and battery storage. Good morning, caller. You're on the Valdosta Transmission Hotline. What's on your mind?
Hey, Steve. This is John.
Hey, John.
Okay. Let me take you back off the speaker. I can hear myself through it.
All right, hold on.
I'm on Medicare.
Okay.
I'm insulin dependent diabetic.
Okay.
And I'm looking right now at my Cigna Medicare prescription drug plans for 2021. It's the same for 2022.
Okay.
In Georgia, most insulins from Humalog, which is a fast-acting insulin, Lantus, slow-acting insulin. They're
Hey, John, you're breaking up really bad. We got a bad connection. Or something.
Let me call you back.
Okay, call me back. I want to hear about this.
Okay.
All right. All right, John's gonna call us back. That sounds very interesting. There might shed some light on there. Let me see if I can. Let's see if we can get him back now. Good morning, caller. You're on the air. What's on your mind?
Have you got me now?
Yeah, you loud and clear now. Sounds like.
Okay. In Georgia, most insulins. I mean, there are some that are not tier 6, but looking like most of them are tier 6.
Okay.
And let me go back over here to the cost. Tier 6 is considered select drugs.
Okay.
If you buy them at a preferred retail with cost sharing, it is 0.
Okay.
Insulin costs you nothing.
Huh.
If you go to standard retail, which is, I guess, out of network, for a 30-day supply, it's $11. For a 60-day supply, it's $22, and for a 90-day supply, it's $33. Same with standard mail order if it's out of network. I get my prescription drugs through Cigna, and they use Express Scripts, and I get all my insulin for no cost.
Does it show the cost of others, a broad range of medicine, insulins like Lantus, Trujillo, Trulicity, and more like that?
Steve, they're not showing the cost. They're just showing the tier those drugs fall under.
Okay,
You
gotcha.
can go back to your state and find out what tier that drug is in your state. I'm looking here at this chart now at, some of these drugs I had never heard of. I'm sure they're probably for type 2 diabetes, but you were talking insulin. Humalog, Novolog, and then the Lantus, the Levemir. I can't even pronounce that insulin, but they're all very common insulin. And if you're on Medicare, and I'm assuming if you've got the plan that carries a supplemental policy, you can be like me, man. You get it for nothing.
So, I don't know how it works. I'm getting messages. I'm getting a bunch
I've been on insulin for over 30 years, 35 years. And when I was working, it was covered under insurance, and it wasn't unaffordable for me then. But I guarantee you, if I didn't have insurance or I didn't have Medicare, I don't know that I would. It would probably kill me in cost.
Well, there's only 5 types of insulin. It says on just a quick Google search. This is from betterhealth.vic.gov. 5 different types of insulin range from rapid to long acting. Some types of insulin look clear while others are cloudy. Check with your pharmacist, blah, blah, blah. As far as different brands of insulin, there's a lot. A lot. So I guess my question is, if one person's telling me that they're paying $500 a month for insulin, and one's telling me they're getting it for free, I guess that's 2 different types of insulin. So the question would be, in the type insulin, the person paying $500 a month, are there other brands that are covered under Medicare, or are there other types that they can use that are cheaper than the one they're using? And why has the doctor got them on the one they are on as opposed to one that's cheaper? That's the things that's got to be analyzed, right?
Well, yeah. I'm on an insulin pump now, and I've got a constant glucose meter. The constant glucose meter is paid in full by Medicare. The insulin pump is paid through Part B, and it's not covered in full. I pay a pretty big price for it, and when I fall into the coverage cap, I pay a bigger price for it, and I wind up with paying about $2,000 a year for the insulin pump that I use.
Right.
But it requires the use of U100 insulin, which is either going to be Humalog or Novolog. It's all a fast-acting insulin.
Right.
I think that if I were to go down to CVS or one of the other pharmacies and just try to buy it over the counter, it'd be too expensive. I couldn't do it.
Right.
I think it would probably be close to, maybe $300, $400 a vial.
Man. So I'm wondering if somebody that's on Medicare, that they just need to get a different supplement if they're paying $500 a month for their insulin. Is that what I'm hearing?
Maybe. I tell you, they make this stuff so doggone confusing. I think it's for a reason, and I don't understand it. But it's I'm looking here. I wish it would give me some cost, but back in 2020 for the Tier 6 copay, it was $4.
Huh.
And it seems like during the Trump administration, something was done, to reduce the cost of some of these drugs. If I remember right, but it's since 2021, I haven't paid anything for insulin, and I use quite a bit of it.
I'm looking at Trulicity. Trulicity is a insulin type drug. Okay, the list price of Trulicity is $886.56 per month. If you have Part D Medicare coverage, they will pay. It says the remaining prescription cost an average after Medicare $207 a month. So again, and I guess it's just the body or whatever reacting, but I wonder if there's another drug besides Trulicity that person could take that would be covered better under Part D Medicare than at $207 a month, because that's a lot of money.
Yeah, well, if you got the plan that I have in Georgia, Trulicity is a Tier 3, and you can get that for a 90-day subscription for as low as $126.
Yeah, and then in patients that qualify for what they call extra help program, they can get it for $4 to $9 per prescription. So I guess it's depending on a lot of factors: how much you make, what kind of plan you qualify for, that sort of thing.
Well, when I became of Medicare age, I spent time with my doctor. I spent time with a Medicare advisor, choosing a plan, and it's so confusing. It's really it's difficult to understand. But that's there. What I'm saying, there are plans out there right now that will save you some money if you're on Medicare.
Yeah, it's a tangled web. There ain't no doubt. It's hard to figure all this. I'm just sitting there reading it, all the twists and turns, and I dread. I mean, I guess it'll be good to get on Medicare, but I dread getting there at the same time, trying to figure out what you need and all that. And I don't know how my mom does it.
Yeah. Well, I spoke with a man named Donald Bay, and he's a Medicare advisor.
Mm-hmm.
He didn't charge me a nickel. Actually, this plan I'm on now, he didn't make a nickel on that. He was just looking through it, and he says, John, this is going to be the best plan for you. It's not one of the companies I'm affiliated with.
Yeah.
But he sent me in that direction, and sure enough, his advice is held true.
That's good. Good for him. Sounds like he's a good guy.
Yeah. If anybody's getting ready to go on Medicare, I'll be happy to give you his name if anybody wants it.
All right, 10-4. Appreciate it, John. I appreciate the call this morning.
I'll see you.
All right, see you. Good morning, caller. You're on the Valdosta Transmission Hotline. What's on your mind?
Hey, good morning, Steve. How are you today?
Oh, I'm doing good, man. What's up?
I just want to let you know, I went up to Atlanta the other night, part of my job, and all I saw up there was a sea of Abrams and Warnock signs. Saw them everywhere.
Well, of course, you were in Atlanta.
they're I know, but they're fully mobilized. I mean, absolutely mobilized.
Well, man, they always have been. That's not a shocker. I mean, all the way back to when Obama ran for president, he took Fulton County. So.
Oh, absolutely. And when you go up and down up there, and you go through the different radio stations, nothing but Abrams and Warnock. No matter what the genre is, I don't even care if it's conservative news radio. It's nothing but Democrat radio. I don't hear any Kemp. I don't hear any Walker or anything else like that. I mean, are they taking the money that Republicans send to them and just going on vacation? I don't know. I mean,
I don't think there's nothing you can do. I mean, you could send $10 million down to try to get the word out in Fulton County, and you're just not going to be able to do it.
Yeah, but it's just not that. It's also, if you go, I don't care where the radio station is. I don't care what the genre is, going up and down there. No matter what radio station I happen to land on, going up there, and all the commercials were basically for whatever Democrats are.
Makes perfect sense.
Yeah.
I mean, that's you got to understand something. When you look at all 159 counties in the state of Georgia,
right,
both Democrats and Republicans know where their lane is. The Republicans are going to spend all their money in the 149 counties, and the Democrats are going to spend all their money in the 10 counties. All the large numbers are in those 10 counties. So it is imperative as a Democrat that you hold them and that you keep them. And if you can expand them, that's great, but you've got to hold them. So you've got to spend all your money in there, because that's where your votes are. As a Republican, you got to do the same thing in the 149 other counties. You've got to take care of where your people are and ensure beyond everything that you motivate their lazy asses to get to the polls and vote. That's got to be done. Now, after you feel like you've done all you could do, if there's a little bit of money left and you want to throw an ad or two in there in them 10 counties or in them 149 as a Democrat, more power to you. But you're not going to hear a Republican ad on a Metro Atlanta radio station. That'd be a foolish waste of money on their part.
Right.
So that's why
I don't even hear. Yeah, I don't even hear them down here. That's the thing. I don't even hear them down here.
I hear them down here.
We got that.
I hear them down here. There's a good one running right now that slams Raphael Warnock for spending a bunch of money outside of the state of Georgia. That one runs. That's a good ad too.
I did like that one. But look, we got that inflation bill the other day because Donald Trump and company told people to stay home for the 2 Senate seats. Well, they 50 plus 1, the vice president got us that. So thanks, Don. So I'm hoping in November I'm going to have a really hard time voting for Kemp. I'm not going to vote for Rassenberger. I'm just not going to do it. I won't do it. I won't vote for somebody that openly cooperates with the other side. So there you go. But I'm hoping people will get their lazy asses, as you just said, to the polls. I'm just not confident of that. I think people are just too, I'm going to go hunting today.
Yeah.
That's exactly what the mentality is.
In general, I would usually agree with you, but in this particular race right now, that guy that's going to go hunting is he don't have as much money to spend on his hobby. He blames that on the Democrats, and he's going to go pull the lever for Kemp.
I hope so. I mean, I do. I hope so. It's hard. The other side is motivated all the time. That's the big difference right there. They're motivated all the time. Their numbers are always steady. So we'll see. But I bet you if you ask your brother broadcasters out there in the state, and you told me the other day that they're finally starting to contact you about getting on your show.
Yeah.
But keep in mind, when they're on the show, they don't want to talk to you, Steve. They'd rather be up there sipping lattes and being on the cocktail circuit, complaining about having a campaign among the unwashed masses.
Yeah, part of that's true, but they do realize they've got to start. They do have to talk to us in order to keep that perch intact. So nothing's happening. Everybody's ready to hear it, but this is par for the course. You don't start hearing the Republicans come out. They spend their money wisely. Many think by waiting in about the last 90 days, 60 to 90 days, you'll start seeing the ads and hearing the ads, and you'll start hearing them on the radio. You'll see them on TV. They get a later start than the Democrats do normally, because normally and a lot of times the Democrats have more money to spend. They do this time. I mean, Raphael Warnock's got a lot more money than Herschel Walker. Now, Stacey Abrams and Brian Kemp, I haven't seen the latest numbers. They were fairly close. They ended up fairly close last time with her out gaining by about $5 million, but they'll be fairly close. But the Democrats generally in state races and Senate races and House races, they generally have more money to spend than the Republicans.
Of course they do. These companies hedge their bets and give money to both. Well, but they give a lot more to the Democrats as more protection money. It's like the mob. So the Republicans will protect them for free. They know that. And the Democrats have to be bought off before or they'll destroy them. So that's basically the game there. I don't know. I hope I'm completely wrong about November. I hope that there is a red wave. I just don't believe it. I just don't believe it.
I believe it in the House. I believe it in the House. I mean, it's pretty obvious in the House. It's not in the Senate, but it's fairly obvious in the House. Yeah. Now, as far as governors nationwide and all that, you may pick up one here, lose one here. I think that ain't gonna change much. That's just the way it seems right now.
Right. Well, listen, you keep doing the good job you are, and when they get on there, when you talk to them, put them through the ringer. Don't let them off the hook.
I always do, but it doesn't matter how the interview goes. I'll get in as many questions as I want, and then there'll be people that enjoyed it. There'll be people that just crucify me for not asking what they deem the right question. So I gave up a long time ago trying to satisfy the masses, and I treat that interview and I ask the questions that I want answered, and then I think the most popular questions that everybody's got. But I won't ask every question you want, and I won't ask every question the next guy wants. And plus, you got to do it in about 11 minutes, so it ain't easy.
That's true.
If they sat here for an hour, I could get them all in.
Yeah. but they should have been on your show a long time ago.
Yeah, that's part. Again, this is no different than I see no difference for 6 years.
Right.
It's the same.
Right,
It's
right.
the same right now as it's always been. It's not quite time. And I'll tell you another thing. It won't be near as intense in a off presidential year election as it will the presidential election. It seems to be heightened at during that cycle than it does the non-presidential election vote
Right.
that we'll have in
Well,
November.
they're the ones that want to get elected, so they better perform. That's all I got to say. I mean, you don't have to win any votes.
Well,
but
the
they say
time
they have to
the
win the
time to perform is the track record they have that we should judge. The question is, did they
That is
perform?
Yes, that's
and-
absolutely true. And a lot of them come up way short.
Some do.
So,
That's right.
Some do. Hey, listen, God bless you, man.
See you,
Okay?
man. All right. Take it easy.
You too. Bye-bye.
229-469-1417. That is the number to call. Yeah, he flip-flops. No doubt. 229-469-1417. We could keep talking about the bill. And we can, if you got a question about it, we'll try to figure it out together. It says here that the Democrats have lost the effort to cap insulin at $35 for most Americans before passage of the Senate bill. Now, this was at 4:15 yesterday. Senate Democrats failed to realize their longstanding goal of lowering the price of insulin for more than 150 million Americans with private health insurance. The party had pushed to include a measure in their climate and healthcare package that passed the chamber Sunday that would place a cap on insulin for those on Medicare and private insurance. However, the Senate parliamentarian decided that extending the cap to the private market was not compliant with the rules of the reconciliation process, which Democrats used to pass the legislation. Democrats kept the provision in the bill anyway, but Republicans on Sunday raised a point of order that led to a vote that limited the $35 cap to Medicare beneficiaries only. The final vote was 57-43, with 7 GOP senators joining all members of the Senate Democrat caucus on the vote, but a 60-vote threshold was needed to keep the private market provision in place. The 7 GOP senators who supported the provision were Susan Collins of Maine, Josh Hawley of Missouri, Cindy Hyde-Smith of Mississippi, John Kennedy and Bill Cassidy, both of Louisiana, and Lisa Murkowski and Dan Sullivan of Alaska. So the private health insurance insulin cost is not capped at $35. That's something that was not made clear in an earlier commentary. We'll keep talking about it if you want to. 229-469-1417. Other than that, New York City Mayor, he's pissed. He is mad about these immigrants being bussed into New York City. Mayor Eric Adams blasted Texas Governor Greg Abbott after second bus of migrants arrives. This is horrific. Well, it's horrific at the southern border, Eric. I'm going to take a quick break, go get me something to drink and clear my throat because I am struggling this morning. So y'all hang in there. I'll be right back.
is gone. If you made it this far, you are an official freedom fighter. Don't forget to visit freedomnetworks.com. Click on featured advertisers and support these businesses. They can advertise anywhere. They choose this show as a way to support the effort of preserving and defending freedom. Now, back to the show with Steve.
Oh, good morning. Welcome back to the show. Struggling a little bit this morning. I have been for a while with my allergies. They're killing me. I don't know what is the deal. It just seems to be uncommonly bad for this time of year. I have been doing a lot of mowing lately, so that might be the problem. Excuse me, I had to sneeze there, so y'all bear with me. Good morning, caller. You're on the Valdosta Transmission Hotline. What's on your mind today?
Morning. Must be something in the air with the pollen or something going on, because I've been sneezing my head off for about 2 weeks, and I take a few allergy drugs for my asthma, and I'm still sneezing like crazy.
Yeah, I don't know what it is.
It is what it is.
That's right.
Just one thing, I know John probably already knows this, and he's on Medicaid. I'm not quite to that age yet. Good old boy that he is, but I'm getting there. I know that like both Walgreens and I have Express Scripts as well, since we both have the retirement plan insurance through the same company we did. And then, of course, now he had to get off of that to get onto Medicare, Medicaid, whichever it is. But you can go to either one of those places that do your prescriptions, usually online, and it will tell you the cost and how much you saved or didn't save with your insurance and all that. I know Walgreens, it's on every receipt. And I get stuff through Express Scripts, but I don't really pay attention to it when it comes. They come grouped in a bag, and I throw them in the pill thing. But I think you can go online and look that stuff up. And most of them will give you cost comparisons. But you have to do a little research, I think.
Yeah, no doubt about it.
But it is out there. And I haven't been on Express Scripts on the website part in a long time, because most of mine are just auto refill like anything else in the world now. It's all auto refill, auto draft, and all that garbage, until the doctor changes something up or whatnot. But you can go look up the price that you pay, and like on Walgreens, it tells you how much you quote unquote save. I'm assuming they're using basic retail price on their information. But
yeah,
anyway, that's how I've noticed all these years, and we've been on similar insurance plans with John for forever and a day. I'm still with Blue Cross Blue Shield for another 3.5 years, I guess, till I hit 65. So I'm fortunate, and with all my doings, if it hadn't been for insurance, and well, personally, if it hadn't been for my parents being in the military, my dad being an Air Force fighter pilot, I probably wouldn't be here. They'd probably be broken and killed me with all my medical expenses.
Yeah, I'll tell you what.
I spent over 50% of my time in the hospital until I was 8 years old. That's how fun that was for them and me. But thank God for military, and back then it was different. They took care of you. So.
Yeah.
But anyway, that is that. And yeah, the allergies and something's out there. And I've been sneezing my head off despite taking all the meds. So I don't know what it is. But.
Yeah, I don't take anything, but I'm gonna have to start taking some Allegra or something, some sort of allergy stuff, over the counter type stuff, and try it and see if it works. Maybe it can't hurt, that's for sure.
Yeah, well, Renee's a Wisconsin born and bred girl, and she takes nothing and does great and does fine. Me, I've been all over the United States, I almost said world, but I guess I was born in Japan. But I've been on all kinds of medications. I have been able, fortunately, to weed myself off a few as I got healthier in my older age. So
yeah,
that's a good thing. But depends on how you treat your body and your life and what you eat, I guess.
That's true.
For some of it.
That's true.
But anyway, I am driving through the country, going to work my tail off this week because I was behind after waiting on a truck that was delayed. So everybody have a great, fruitful work week.
You do the same, brother. See you later.
Yep. See y'all.
All right. Bye-bye. 229-469-1417. I've been lucky. I've been extremely lucky. God has blessed me all my life with just good health, and not just me, it's my family, my children, my wife. I mean, we've just all been blessed, and I'm just now entering that stage of life, I guess, where things are starting to creep up on me a little bit. I'm having to go to the doctor and get things checked out. And you just, I guess that's part of it. You roll with the punches. And the good thing about not taking a lot of medicine in for all my life is that when I do take something, it usually works. And for example, a headache, I rarely get a headache. But when I do, I can take one of the lowest dosages of headache medicine, a Tylenol or or whatever, and it'll knock it right out within minutes. It just so that's a blessing. When I do get a headache, it always gets gone quick. When I get sick, I get over it quick, with the help of medication. So at any rate, 229-469-1417. Eric Adams is mad about the busload of immigrants. Adams gave a news conference Sunday morning at the Port Authority where he greeted an incoming bus of around 40 migrants, only 14 of whom disembarked in the Big Apple. This is horrific when you think about what the governor is doing. It's horrific when you're thinking about what the federal government is not doing, Eric. And this is so insanely maddening to me to hear these people bitching and griping and moaning about migrants. 40 of them. 40. Eric, 40? 40? Are you kidding me? There's tens of thousands coming across the southern border, but you don't give a damn about them people down there, do you? You don't care about Laredo or Brownsville or any of them cities along the Texas border of the New Mexico. You don't care because you got 40. You got 40 of them parked in your place. God almighty, that's infuriating to me. Why don't somebody stand up and say that? When he's in front of that microphone, why don't somebody stand up and give him the business? Say, I'm sorry, Mary Adams, with all due respect, you're complaining about 40. Look down on the southern border where there's tens of thousands of them coming. What do you think they feel? If you're having trouble dealing with 40 of them, how do you think they feel dealing with tens of thousands of them every month, Eric? God, man, I would blister his ass if I was up there in the crowd and had press credentials. Lord, please put me up there. Please. What else? Far left AOC needs to learn that defund the police hurts her constituents. She don't care about that. That's a stupid headline. China announces military exercises around Taiwan will be extended. They've sanctioned poor old Nancy. They've extended this. They've dropped bombs in Japanese water. I don't know where that's going. Major League brouhaha in the Mets Braves game. A Brave and a Met fan got into it. A couple of Mets fans. The security was trying to keep them. And this dude this Mets guy, he sucker punched and absolutely clocked the Braves fan. Now, I have always hated the Mets. Hate them. Absolutely hate them. And now I hate them even more. Because he just sucker punched him and knocked him out. Terrible. So I hope he gets in trouble. Medical student dies during a 102-mile bike ride for cancer research. That's terrible. CNN's Brian Stelter says Hunter Biden scandal is not just a right-wing media story, and it may prevent Biden running in 2024. We'll see. Oklahoma's Cale Gundy resigns after reading shameful and hurtful word during film session. I don't know what's that's all about, but I gotta read it. I'm just interested in it. The Oklahoma Sooners had a shakeup on their football staff Sunday with the start of the 2020 season against UTEP just a few days away. Cale Gundy, an assistant head coach, resigned after using offensive language during a film session. The 50-year-old coach made the decision in a statement on social media, and the statement from the school followed. He had been with the program since 1999. He said the statement he read a word off a player's iPad he should have never uttered. That's strange. I owe it to Sooner Nation to be transparent about what led to the decision last week during the film session. I instructed my players to take notes. I noticed the player was distracted and picked up his iPad and read aloud the words that were written on his screen. The words displayed had nothing to do with football. One particular word that I should never, under circumstance, have uttered was displayed on screen. In the moment, I did not realize what I was reading, and as soon as I did, I was horrified. I want to be very clear. The words I read aloud at the screen were not my words. What I said was not malicious. It wasn't even intentional. Still, I am more mature enough to know the word I said was shameful and hurtful. It was not immediately clear what the word he said was. Let me tell you something, man. If what he says is true, okay, and he read it, it's a word that somebody else wrote, and he read it without really, he didn't proofread it. He just read it off that somebody else read, and now he thinks he needs to resign. Man, if I'd have read that iPad, I don't know what the word was. I can imagine some bad words. Probably the worst word is probably the N word. Let's just be honest. It probably was. He didn't write it. He didn't even say it wasn't his words. He didn't say it. He repeated it, wrote it off. As soon as that word would have come out of the mouth, I would have dropped it and said, "Are you serious? Did you seriously write that?" I would have admonished that player and disciplined him. But I don't know that I would have resigned. Now, again, I don't know I don't know the circumstances. I don't know all the details. I just don't know that I'd resign. I got to have more information about that right there. So, yeah, what happened to the player that wrote it? That's what I'm wondering. I'm glad I'm not the only one that thinks like that. It's crazy stuff. What else? There was something else I was wanting to discuss. Anyway, experts weigh in on how the Kremlin's bank account is doing after the sanctions storm. The editor of one of Russia's most respected independent economic journals grudgingly concedes Team Putin is riding the sanction storm well. Of course they are. They knew that was coming. Man, I can't even read that. That's just, if you didn't know that he knew that we were going to sanction him and that he didn't take countermeasures to prepare for that, then you ain't paying attention. Governor Abbott accused of brutality and human trafficking by columnists for busing illegal immigrants to New York City. Another dumbass quote. WAPO columnist compares Liz Cheney to major Star Wars character. Town abolishes police department after officer's controversial text surfaces. Actor skewered for supporting Anne Hesh. Anne Hesh got in a bad wreck this past weekend. You can read that. It's she's an actress, and she sounds to me like she got messed up and crashed into a house. I don't know. Senate Dems passed social spending, tax bill, working from home, despairs, and more. Monday's 5 things to know. Bullet Train tops the charts in opening weekend with $30.1 million. That's a lot of dough. On this day in history, August 8, 1975, global warming enters scientific political debate. 1975. Almost 50 years ago. What else is on here? All right, let's look at the other. Okay, that was the Fox News thread. Let's look at CNN. How Biden's big win in the Senate could change America. Democrats in the White House say the bill could have a massive impact by helping Americans struggle to pay for vital medicine. See, here's the deal. In any legislation, there's winners and losers. There'll be winners and losers in this one. Those that win, they'll love it. Those that lose will hate it. So the question is, who's the winners and who's the losers? And we won't figure that out until probably 4, 5, 10 years down the road. Then we'll be able to look back and say, well, it was worse than we thought. It was better than we thought. It was about what we thought. I don't know. I don't know what it'll do. Gas prices. I noticed Friday. I think it was Friday. I see a lot of people on Facebook commenting on gas prices, obviously, like everybody does. And sometimes I kind of get aggravated with it because we tend to manipulate and try to put out a narrative there that just kind of skirts around the facts, and but it seems more to be a pointed shot at another political party, and it's just it irritates me when I see that. And I'll give you an example. I saw one the other day that says gas is still $2 a gallon higher than it was when Biden took office. Well, that's not entirely true. And what I mean by that is all I can do is compare it to what I experience here in our state, what the price is now, what the price was then. And then you can look at all the factors as to why. You can calculate in the gas tax holiday and all that. But right now, as we speak, the absolute fact is that Friday when I pumped gas, I bought it for $3.18 a gallon. I just so happened to have a picture that was dated August the 5th. I remember it because the significance of August the 5th with the passing away of my dad, my anniversary on the same day, the kids starting school that day. So I simply had a picture or on Facebook on a memory that come up with a picture that had the gas pump price in the background from exactly 1 year ago. It was $2.18. Excuse me, not a year ago, from the day Biden was elected president. It's January the 20th. So about a year and a half, a little more than a year and a half ago. So it's now $1 in my life in real, no bull crap. Okay. I'm paying $1 more, which is bad. Okay. But it ain't $2 more. The way that they're getting the $2 is they're looking at the $1.18 price when Biden was inaugurated, and they're gauging that against the national average, not what they paid, but the national average of what everybody's paying, which today is like $3.99 or $4. Well, let's see, David sent it to me. It's $4.05. So 405 minus 318, that's a big chunk, right? But you weren't paying 405. That's what the national average was. When the national average was 405, you were probably paying 330. You know what I mean? So you got to take that into consideration. Let's keep the facts. Now, the problem I contend is has nothing to do with gas. Sure, it's bad to have to pay as much as we're paying for gas, but let me tell you, that's not what's affecting you so adversely. Most of you guys aren't paying a whole lot total for gas. Now, when I say most, and now listen to me, I'm saying most. If you're paying $1,000 a month for gas, I ain't talking to you. I'm not talking to T-Rex right now, who's driving to Jacksonville from Valdosta every day. I'm talking about the average person that lives in Valdosta, Adel, or wherever they live, Nashville, Quitman, Thomasville, wherever they live. The average person drives to and from work. That's it. Let's say the average school teacher in the county of Lowndes, how much gas are they burning? Okay. They probably driving 10 miles a day or 10 miles one way, 20 miles total, 100 miles a week. Whereas I drive about 600 miles a week. Okay. Now, my point to that is we got the same problem. I have the same problem as that teacher that's driving way less than me. Okay. I drive a gas burning truck. He drives a gas burning car, but we've got the same exact problem. And guess what? It's not gas. We have a diesel problem. That teacher and I share the problem, the common bond of high-priced diesel. That's the problem. Diesel is what's causing your groceries to be so high. Just that simple. So if you want to celebrate something, start celebrating when diesel prices go down. All right, what else is going on? Let's see. Let me back up some of these headlines. I echo the sentiment from Wade. Wade says, thanks to Glenn Tyler and Pogo for donating the Boston butts that were auctioned to help support our American Heroes hunts at Vets and Cops Outdoors. I also like to thank everyone for supporting us with your bids. No problem. Our pleasure, Wade. Let's see what else here. Yeah, see. Bobby Mack goes up. People get mad. It goes down. People get mad. People are funny. I have never met anybody that got mad when it went down, if you're talking about gas. I know Aaron Spike says, I don't know who he's talking to. Anybody thinks the government gives a crap about them has fell and bumped their head. Can't please everyone. You sure can't. Yet they vote Trump be looking like Nostradamus. I don't know what that's referring to. Aaron, good point. If he doesn't win either of the last two races, I believe he's out of the playoffs. They must be talking about NASCAR. Renee says, you were doing something amazing. You were making a difference. Bless you. I don't know who she's talking about, but if she says that you are, I'm in. I think so too. Diesel's over $5. That's right. National average is still over $5. It's come down a tick here locally. It's like $4.79. I saw it one pump. Lee says, Glenn Tyler's a good man. He will give the shirt off his back in the dead of winter. He will. And I echo that sentiment. Renee, yes. And I learned a little more about it Saturday. Very good calls. It is, yes. I like their burgers. I go there randomly and sit at a bar. Maybe I don't know where. I like burgers. What burgers? 229-469-1417. Excuse me. We're talking about Bubba Wallace. Race car driver? How about the weather? Partly cloudy. A stray shower or thunderstorm is possible. High of 92 degrees. Winds light and variable. Scattered thunderstorms early, then partly cloudy after midnight. Low of 71 degrees. Winds are light and variable. Chance of rain is 40% tonight. That's your Recycling Center of Quitman weather report. They're located at 900 Boundary Street in Quitman. Opens at 9 o'clock. You can call them at 229-563-5300 for all your recycling needs. Cowboys. Okay, gotcha. I've never been there. I got to try it. Who is Bubba Wallace? He's a race car driver. I don't know nothing about him. He's a race car driver. That's all I know. Fish game forecast. Man, it's a little bit strange. They're pretty much biting from about 9 o'clock this morning. It hits the good range, and it never leaves the good range for very long, all the way to dark. It's a pretty good time to go fishing. So get out there and go. Reed Hall, Plantation Creek Real Estate. He is the sponsor of the Fishing Game Forecaster. So if y'all need to buy or sell any real estate, specifically recreational types of tracks, he is the man to help you out. I know he's looking forward to deer season, and I am too. I got out there not this past weekend before, did a lot of mowing, getting everything ready, put my cameras back out, got my corn out so I could evaluate the inventory. And when I got my pictures, I got my SD cards off the camera and looked at them, I was pleasantly surprised, to say the least, at the activity everywhere that I have a camera. It was just awesome. So hope you guys get out there and enjoy the great outdoors. Gaza ceasefire holds after days of violence. After 3 days of violence in which 44 people died, fuel deliveries to Gaza have resumed. Airstrikes back and forth, pretty intense over there. China conducts new military drills near Taiwan. China's military says it's continuing large-scale military drills around Taiwan after its previously announced live fire exercises ended on Sunday. Chinese Army's Eastern Theater Command said it would practice anti-submarine attacks and sea raids. The earlier 4 days of exercises were Beijing's response to Pelosi's visit. Taiwan has accused China of using these drills as practice for an invasion. On Monday, Taiwan and Chinese aircrafts and ships had not entered its territorial waters, which extend 12 nautical miles from the coast during the exercises so far. Good morning, caller. On the Valdosta Transmission Hotline. What's on your mind?
What's going on, Mac Daddy?
What's up?
Hanging out, waiting on my eye doctor appointment.
Oh, I hear you. So you off getting your eyes examined today, huh?
Yeah. Got to do them kind of things. Checking out my doggone rain gauge, man. Dude, we got 2 inches of rain over the weekend.
2 inches.
2 inches at the Tyler Roost. That was awesome. Want to thank everybody that did their thing for helped us out this weekend. Everybody that bought a book from us. Hope they turned out worthwhile of what they spent.
Mine did. Yeah, mine did. Mine was really good, and I appreciate you doing that for us.
Not a problem, brother. I want to talk about that little the bill that you was on topic first thing this morning.
Yeah.
All that is more and more socialism. I mean, I know that everybody's. We got people on here that are on insulin and that kind of thing, and I'm sure the $35 is going to help them out if on that cap. But I mean, they're not going to do anything if you got private insurance. So here we are. If you can afford to pay for it, then by God, we're going to pay for it.
Yeah, I mean, it is. That's a good description. I mean, you're robbing and stealing from one against their will to pay for somebody else's stuff. I mean, it doesn't get more socialistic than that. It just don't. 15%, you won't tax somebody because they're successful. But what really gets me is did they think for one instance that these billionaires that they tax in 15%, do you think they're just going to eat that, or are they going to pass that on somehow? You know what I mean? They're going to make it. They're going to make it up.
I mean, they just going to shoot it onto me. I mean, if I was on insulin and and not on Medicaid, then yeah, I'll be the one paying for the people that's getting $35. I mean, I've got an eye appointment this morning, and I can only go by what happened last year. I've got insurance, but at the end of the day, whenever I walk out of that place, I'm going to have my $50 copay, and then they're going to tell me what my insurance company is going to pay, and then I've got to sit there and pay the rest. I mean, and like last year, it wound up being right at $400.
Mm-hmm.
Yet other people walk in there with their little card from wherever, and they pay $10 and turn around and walk out with whatever they want. This is where we're at. I don't know how to stop it. I hate it.
You ain't gonna stop it.
And it defies everything that I consider freedom.
Mm.
I mean, you're supposed to, in my opinion, freedom is you live and die by your life choices. That means your career, how hard you work, that kind of thing. It also means how much planning you put into taking care of yourself.
Well,
if you
I
do
agree.
the right thing and you buy insurance and that kind of thing, so you are protected in case something happens or whatever, then then.
Well, let me ask you this. Me and you, we're roughly 10 years, give or take, away from qualifying for Medicare. Are you going to participate in Medicare? Are you going to accept it?
Well, I accept it most likely, and the reason, I mean, I'm being hypocritical, I guess you could say.
No, you're
but
not.
on the flip side, I don't know if I am, because I paid into it all my cotton picking life.
I'm gonna cut you off right. You're not being hypocritical. You're being human, and you're representative. As am I. The problem. We rail against it. We know it's wrong. Lyndon Johnson. I think it was Lyndon Johnson. Right around the year I was born, 1966 or 64, 65, somewhere along there. He's the one that started this shit. Okay. He's the one that signed it into law for Medicaid and Medicare. All right. And not just him, the Congress, it passed. It went into law, went into effect in probably about the time we were born, probably a little bit before you were born. Okay.
Mhm.
Now,
Thank you for that.
yeah, there ain't nothing that we could do about it. Nothing. We had no
No,
vote. We had no say
nothing.
so, no nothing. So we get along here and we turned 18, 17, 16. For me and you, it was probably 15 and 14 when we actually got our first paycheck. And we learned, what these deductions were. We were, all the jokes. So, who the hell's FICA? I don't know FICA. So,
Exactly.
so anyway,
Yeah.
they started taking out of our paycheck, and they have for all our work career, which is 35 plus years. Okay. So when we turn 65 or whatever, 64, 68, I don't even know what our age is, but when we turn that, we're going to take it because we paid into it. It's logical, right? But they
Yes.
they knew that. They knew that. They know that nobody, as wrong as it as fundamentally wrong as it is for the government to take my money from me for 30 years to fund Medicaid and Medicare. We have really no choice but to keep on playing the game. So it's not
Right.
it's not hypocritical. It's a trap. We're caught in it,
Right. I mean,
But
it was, on that same note, it was taken from us again. We didn't have any choice in the matter. So therefore it was taken against our will. So we're forced into the system,
yeah.
forced into it.
Yeah.
I mean, if you paid in all your life and then you just, I ain't, when you do reach the age and you don't sign up for it, you're an idiot. I mean, go get some of your cotton picking money back.
Yeah.
But my biggest, I guess my biggest thing is I know people that have worked under the table and that kind of stuff and never paid into the doggone system, and then next thing you know, they have medical issues come up. Oh my God, what am I going to do? Well, they go sign up.
Yeah.
And did I lose you?
No, I'm here. I'm listening.
Okay, yeah. I mean, they go down and go sign up, and that pisses me off. We got people coming in our country illegally.
Mm-hmm.
Time they show up, they find their local health department, go down there and put their information down, and they're getting it.
But not only that, if they do have ambition and they do want to work, they can go get them a federal job in Los Angeles, California, and not even be legal and making $100,000 a year. It's crazy.
That's right. Well, brother, I just seen something I got to go take care of. My neighbor down the road, Pogo is a full-grown male. He is a red-blooded American male, and my neighbor down the road has got a cute little female dog, and she's in season right now. And Pogo has figured out how to get out of the doggone fence. So I've got to go rescue him from paying child support.
I got you. Or getting killed, or getting shot by an unruly parent. So
that's right. And and the one I'm talking about.
Oh, I know.
I don't think she'd shoot him, but
she'd make him wish he was dead.
She'd
scare him to death.
That's right.
All right, man.
All right, brother.
All right,
we're going to see you. Bye.
All right, bye. All right, 229-469-1417. Somebody said 1965 on the Medicare, Medicaid thing. I take that as fact. I know it was right around the mid-60s. So I don't know. Is it a good return on your money? The money they take out of your check for Medicare and Medicaid, do you get more than you paid in? Same thing for Social Security. I think Social Security, you get you invest a certain amount of your paycheck every week or every month, and then you end up going on Social Security and you draw that back out. I think I think most people probably draw way more out than they put in, don't they? What about the military's pay and the military's health care? Now, I would pay the military to defend me and defend my freedom. I don't know about you, but I would. Good morning, caller on the Valdosta Transmission Hotline. What's on your mind? Hey, man.
So what gets me about Medicare, Medicaid, Social Security, and all these things that are supposed to safeguard our future in retirement and medical care when we're no longer able to work and provide for ourselves. It's all stolen from us, and the way we all see it, the way I've been thinking about it, as long as I've known what it is and seen that FICA and everything coming out of my paychecks. I mean, we all know it's wrong, and even folks who agree with it and everything know that on some fundamental level, taking something from somebody else is wrong.
Yeah.
But what's the answer? What's the replacement?
Choice. You choose to participate or you don't. It's just that simple. If I want to, the question for me, let's take Social Security first. Do I want to participate in the government dictating my contribution towards my retirement, or do I want to handle that myself? Because I would argue that I could do a better job than they could, and I could set myself up to be retired better than they could. Now, the problem is that arguably or inarguably, you have hundreds of thousands of people out there who are not going to be disciplined enough to direct their money to a savings account or to an investment portfolio that'll be available for them when they turn 65 or 70. And then somebody's got to take care of them, right? You can't just leave them on the street, ignore the care. So that's where that comes in. We ought to, in my opinion, we should have stuck like glue to the area of personal responsibility. But we don't have the stomach for that, okay? We've proved that we don't have the stomach to hold people accountable in this country. They have to be helped. So that's why we have these government programs.
Well, what I think the major issue is now is these generations coming up, my generation coming up. I mean, we don't even look at the politics anymore. We don't even look at bills that are coming up for review and revoting and alteration. Don't do any research into the candidates. Don't do any research into what's going on to each ballot. So at this point, the way Medicare has and Medicaid and Social Security has expanded, and the ability to dip into these funds and expand them has expanded. I'd say it's probably the biggest issue. It's not even having the personal responsibility to build your own retirement. It's not having the wherewithal and forethought to just take a look at your own future, the future of your own well-being, your family's well-being, and saying, well, no, there's probably a better way to do it. And I agree. That's the point I wanted to make is choice, being able to opt out, being able to say this, I got this. I'll do a better job than you ever will.
Yeah, but the problem is there's like I said, at the end of that, there'll be millions of people who didn't do it, who put it off, who didn't do it, who didn't work. So then the government says we've got to take care of them people. So the only way we can do it is take money from you and me to be able to do so.
Yeah, they'll find it somewhere else too. They'll find it in your transportation taxes, in your roads, in your local income tax. They'll find a way.
Yeah, I don't know what to do, man. I really don't. I think you touched on what T-Rex was mentioning earlier in the show, where this next generation coming up, even the one after you, I'm talking about the ones that are graduating college now, or they're entering high school and will be graduating college in the next 10 years, That's who's going to be making decisions and running the country. after we're gone. I mean, it's pretty easy to see where we're headed. I mean, really, we're not going to be able to stave it off because of the generations coming up. I believe we're losing the battle. I believe we will end up with government-run health care. I don't know that it'll be in my lifetime. I think it could be in yours, though. But I just think we're headed that way. And all you can hope for is that somehow, by the grace of God, it works like our military health care and our maybe our Medicare health care. Maybe it works that good. That's all you can hope for, because I believe it's coming.
Well, hopefully they put it alongside mandatory employment.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I don't know where we're going. It's going to be a troubling road to hoe the next several years. It really is. It's just not. I don't see it getting any better. I hate to be negative. I just don't know what. I mean, I think we can hinder it, and you maybe get some elected officials there to kind of stave off all that. But the damage they do, we have to pay that piper too. I mean, this debt, this national debt, man. I don't know. I keep thinking it'll get us one day. I think it will. But, I look up at this screen and I see these numbers. The total U.S. debt is $91 trillion. Total personal debt that we owe, $23 trillion. The average citizen owes $70,000, yet they only have $8,500 in savings, the average savings per family. And I think that's shrinking at a dramatic and alarming rate.
I mean, anybody who's just listening in, learn to grow your food, learn to hunt.
Yeah. But listen to this. listen to this. How preposterous is this? We are currently spending, okay, our current right now at this moment official U.S. federal spending is banging on $6 trillion. Okay.
Jeez.
We're only collecting through tax revenue $4.4 trillion. So we're spending $1.5 trillion more than we're taking in. How can you sustain that?
They're just going to do the same thing they've been doing. They'll just print more money.
Borrow more, print more.
Hey, I got a call coming in. I got to take this.
See you, buddy.
All right, see you, bud.
All right, bye. 229-469-1470. It just can't continue like this. It cannot continue. Something's got to give, as the old saying would go, right? Something's got to give. All right, Brittney Griner. I've not touched much on Brittney Griner. Brittney Griner is the WNBA basketball player who got caught with the cannabis oil in her smoke pipe or whatever. That's against the law in Russia. She got caught. She went before the court. She was convicted. She actually pled guilty to it, and she was, found guilty, or they accepted that plea of guilty. She was facing 10 years and up to 10 years in prison. She got 9 years. Now, a lot of people are trying to call for her release, that we should trade prisoners for her or whatever, calling her a political prisoner. Now, I want to explain something to you. Don't listen to that. She's not a political prisoner. She is a person who broke the law and admitted that she did. And she's not a political prisoner. She's a prisoner because she broke the law. So don't say the word political prisoner. She may be a political pawn, but she's not a political prisoner. Okay? Nelson Mandela was a political prisoner. Otto Warmbier, he was not a political prisoner. He was a student that went down there and trashed a hotel lobby somehow, knocked a picture off the wall, damaged it. He broke the law. He committed a crime and he was arrested. Now he became a political pawn like Brittney Griner did. Okay? She is suffering the consequences of her actions. She did not put herself in a position to succeed. Now, a lot of people are putting these memes up there and they're saying, well, she's marked safe from having to hear the national anthem, or, she shouldn't have trashed the national anthem. She shouldn't have not come out of the locker room. See, none of that matters to me. I don't let that cloud my judgment as to what has went on here. Okay. She's simply a U.S. citizen who broke the laws of Russia and got caught and sentenced for her actions. It's just that simple. It does not matter to me that she is a WNBA player. It don't matter to me. There's this large public outcry to swap a arms dealer for her. No, don't, because you know what? She's just a person that broke the law in Russia. It's just that simple. Okay? Nothing else matters. There's no other discussion for me. And I don't like I don't like to get into the whole concept of, well, she shouldn't have knelt. No, I don't think she should have knelt, but that ain't got a damn thing to do with the fact she broke the law trying to go to Russia to smoke weed or whatever the case may be. Okay? It's just, I don't need nothing else. I wouldn't swap. I wouldn't do it, prisoner swap. I'm sorry. I just wouldn't do it. I wouldn't do it for her. I wouldn't do it for you. And I wouldn't expect you to do it for me. Now, I would want you to. I hate it for Brittany Griner. I don't wish that on nobody. Have y'all seen the pictures of where she's at? That's not good, especially, I'll give it to Russia. They've got it figured out better than we do. You get caught with a little weed here, you don't even go to jail. It's like a traffic ticket. If you want to stop somebody from doing something, make the punishment fit the crime. Simple as that. So this Brittany Griner thing, again, to me, it's just off the skids with everybody. It's like people have lost their ability to reason and logic. That it's just, she committed a crime. She shouldn't have done that. She should have put herself in the position to succeed. So I'll ask you this. Let's just take a beloved American basketball player that's a man that ain't never been in no trouble. Larry Bird, Magic Johnson, Michael Jordan. Michael Jordan come out and said, hey, it's stupid for y'all to kneel. If you took Michael Jordan and he goes over there, greatest basketball player, on the history of the planet, or arguably, he decides to try to sneak in a little weed, just like Brittany, and he gets caught and he is on the chopping block. Here's the question I want you to ponder. Would you be wanting to trade prisoners for Michael Jordan equally as you would for Brittany Griner? Okay. That's just probably yes. If you want to trade a prisoner for Brittany Griner, you would most certainly want to trade one for Michael Jordan, I would think. Since Michael did not kneel when the flag was out, never criticized the national anthem. Since he didn't do that, would you be willing to do a prisoner swap for him? Would you be willing to let an arms dealer go to get Michael back? Not me. Not me. Not me. But I can guarantee you that there are plenty of people out there that would get Michael back, but wouldn't get Brittany Griner back because she knelt and he didn't. And that is wrong. It's just wrong. If you feel that way, fine, but you're wrong. And I'm not doing you no favors by telling you you're not. Like it or not, Brittany Griner exercised her free speech to trash the national anthem and to choose not to kneel. Do I think she shouldn't have done that? I think she's a monumental fool for kneeling at the flag. Monumental fool. But I will fight to the day I die for her right to do it, because that is protected free speech. It's just that simple. I'm not trading an arms dealer for Brittany Griner. I'm not trading an arms dealer for Michael Jordan. Now, can I trade someone from Russia that got caught with weed in the U.S. and might be in prison? Yes, I will, for both. Apparently, Brittany Griner may be a transformer. Russia is allegedly doing a DNA test, and she may be a he. I haven't heard that, so I don't know about that. I'll let y'all opine on that. Alex Jones has been awarded, a jury has found that Alex Jones has to pay $45.2 million for his Sandy Hook lies. Recent killings of 4 Muslim men in Albuquerque have shaken the city. Here's what we know. They're worried about a serial killer there, and it sounds like they may have one if that's the case. What else? The world broke the record for the shortest day ever recorded. How about that? That's interesting. If you feel like there's less time in the day, you're correct. Scientists recorded the shortest day on Earth since the invention of the atomic clock. Our planet's rotation measured in at 1.59 milliseconds, short of the normal 24-hour day on June 29th, according to the International Earth Rotation and Reference System, an organization in charge of keeping global time. A rotation is the length of time the Earth takes to spin on its axis, which is roughly 84,600 seconds. The previous record was documented on July 19th, 2020, when the day measured 1.47 milliseconds shorter than normal. The atomic clock is a standardized unit of measurement that has been used since the 1950s to tell time and measure the Earth's rotation. So for all you science geeks, there you go. At least 68 immigrants arrived in New York City over the weekend on buses sent by Greg Abbott. Good for you, Greg. The slaughter of 19 children and 2 teachers in Uvalde has thrust local officials into the spotlight. You're guilty for enjoying your sexuality. Actress fights shame culture. British soap legend June Spencer retires at age 103. She finally decided to retire, and good for her. What you need to know about Paxlovid rebound. Pink Floyd's co-founder accuses Biden of huge crime in Ukraine. Colonial Williamsburg tells the story of early American settlers, but in 1956 it paved over Black history to make a parking lot. I hate that we have to do this. This is in reference to the hunters that are traveling to the Florida Everglades for the annual Python Challenge. The state says it's vital to save the ecosystem. Deer, raccoons, possums, and fox once flocked the area of the Everglades National Park. Nowadays, you're lucky if you spot one mammal in the area, according to wildlife experts. Who's to blame for this decline in wildlife? The invasive species known as Burmese pythons. Are they really eating that many deer and coons and possums and foxes? To help combat this problem for Florida's ecosystem, snake hunters are congregating in the hundreds for the Florida Python Challenge. I love snakes. I hate that we have to do this, but they're invasive and changing the entire ecosystem. Professional python hunter Amy Seway told CNN. According to the commission, these reptiles were detected as early as 1979 in Florida. Since then, they've killed and continue to pose a major threat to wildlife. The event brings hundreds of professional snake hunters to the Everglades to hunt and kill the reptiles. As of Friday, more than 850 people had signed in to this, or signed in for. August the 5th marked the start of the 10-day challenge. To participate, members are required to take an online training course and pay a $25 registration fee. Hunter brings back the most pythons, wins $2,500. Last year, participants killed more than 200 pythons. Aside from the challenge, year-round removal efforts are still in place. Since 2000, more than 17,000 pythons have been removed and reported, according to the commission. Michael Kirkland, a biologist with the South Florida Water Management District, told CNN that pythons have been decimating wildlife for years. The challenge is designed to remove as many pythons in the area as possible. Human detection and removal are the most efficient and effective tools in the toolbox right now. Contractors hired with the Water Management District work year-round and participate in the challenge to capture the creatures. Man, that's a big snake. I'm looking at it on the thing. Kirkland said there has been about a 90% decline of animals in the area due to pythons. That's crazy. Among the many partaking in the challenge this year are Seaway and Donna Khalil. Khalil told CNN Donna Khalil, CNN, he has been professionally hunting. I've never met a dude named Donna or a boy named Sue. Seaway was hired in 2019. Combined, they've killed more than 1,000 pythons. Khalil at more than 670 and Seaway close to 400. They share love for the creatures, but understand the importance of this challenge. Donna Khalil. I got the zero in on that. That's I don't know who that is. Anyway, I love snakes. I hate when we have to do this. They're invasive and changing the entire ecosystem. In fact, Florida Governor Ron DeSantis has been an avid fan of the Python Challenge. In a June press release, he said, "I'm proud of the progress we've made, and I look forward to seeing the results of this year's Python Challenge." In fact, his wife, Casey DeSantis, said in a press conference Friday that her 10-year anniversary gift to the governor was a pair of python skin boots. Nice. What else? Let's look across. Let's look over here at let's look at MSNBC. What they got? Biden. Let's see, the costly problem that has plagued Congress since the 1700s. What is that? Costly problem. 2 days before the House was scheduled to vote on a bill concerning the domestic semiconductor chip manufacturing industry, Paul Pelosi, the husband of Speaker Pelosi, sold $5 million worth of stock in chip maker NVIDIA. Speaker Pelosi denies having shared non-public information with her husband. Bullshit. But it doesn't matter whether Paul Pelosi had inside information about the conductor or not. It looks awful. It's important that Congress pass a law prohibiting its members and their spouses from trading in individual stocks while in office. For years, such reform has faced considerable resistance from members of both political parties, including the Speaker, but it is necessary if public confidence in Congress is to be restored. They don't care about public confidence. I do commend MSNBC for writing that. I just don't think they're going to do anything about it. Senate Democrats passed a sweeping climate package. What Biden can do right now to avoid a three-front foreign crisis. This movie is required viewing in an American running from its history. Oh, what the hell? All right, what else? What are y'all talking about here? Let's look and see. We had an illegal snake breeder living in Worthington Woods neighborhood. He released hundreds of snakes into the neighborhood when the law was closing in on his illegal business. I remember hearing about that. I couldn't remember where it was at, though. I couldn't remember if it was over there at Wood Valley or Worthington Woods or whatever. But I remember that incident. He had turned them loose. They finally got. I think they got most of them rounded up, but he had some serious snakes in there. Why not call it what it is, a hunt? I think they did say hunt. I don't know what. Paying attention to my own reading. Solving the snake problem. Just relocate a few thousand Cajuns to the Everglades and wait a few years. Problem solved. They'll get them and eat them. Jim, to my knowledge, it's only seasonal, but then again, it's my knowledge, so that's the caveat. Heard spikes and them damn assault pythons are destroying our swamps. Didn't they put Martha Stewart in jail for insider trading? They did. They did, Carmina. They absolutely did. Why? I guess it's all about proving, but my gosh, it ought to be easy to bar these trades in this case, just as the MSNBC article indicated. If you're a spouse or you're a sitting congresswoman, you ought to be prohibited from owning stock in certain businesses, or at least trading it while you're in office. It is absolutely. I can't. I don't know how that. Maybe they don't talk to each other. Maybe he sleeps on the couch. I don't know, but for him not to know that they were about to vote or not vote on a bill that would affect computer chips that he had stock in. Come on, man. Come on. Only 30% of crap given to Ukraine is accounted for. Bet most of it is sitting in our government officials' pockets. I wouldn't doubt it. Renee, or some Ukrainian officials' pockets, Richard says. That's true. I don't know, man. This is getting absolutely crazy. Football Friday night. I've had several people text me. I just hadn't mentioned it. Football Friday night. The Lions Vikings traveled up to Tifton and they come back with a loss, 8-7. I did not go to the game, so I don't know. I don't know how. Obviously, they didn't do too good, or they wouldn't have lost. But I don't know what the situation was. I don't know how much was the first team in there. What were there turnovers? And y'all can tell me that. But I don't know. I don't know what it's going to look. We have to play the season out. I know we're young. I know the previous coach, Jamie Dubose, I knew he had mentioned several times that it was going to be a tough year with what we had returning. The new coach comes in, Zach Grage. He's got a very qualified coach, no doubt about it. I think he knows what he's doing. But you got to play the game, and he's got to get there and coach him up. Let's see what happens. So we'll watch and see. Joe backing over the third. A little update on him. I got a text message from him yesterday. He's got all his equipment in place. I think they did a little test run last night, and he's got to get a couple of more things ironed out. But I think he's going to be up and ready to go here on about the 15th, which will be next Monday. So looking forward to that. Joe writes, Steve, you cannot make it illegal to get rich or make your friends rich by cheating the American people. If you do that, you will make politicians an endangered species. That's true. They're doing everything right in front of us, but they all sit around looking at us stupid peasants. Well, here's the thing, Renee. It's not me and you and Joe and Richard, Carmina, Brandon, Matt, JR, Mary, Jim, and on and on. It's not us that's the problem. It's not us that they're necessarily fooling. Now, I'd argue they're fooling us to some extent, but we're not as easily fooled. We're skeptics. But you got to understand something. We're in the severe minority. The people that listen to this show, they're not even a dust particle in the grand scheme of things. These politicians know that the average person just listens to all the rhetoric, and they may buy into it, or they may not, or they may not even care. They may just be simply fixated on what they're doing this weekend, or their children's volleyball team, or their son's baseball team, or football season coming. They know that we're just taking our freedom for granted, and that we're going out and doing all these things. It's not us. It's everybody else. It's the 90% of the country that functions in oblivion. They've got us. They aren't fooling us. That's right. They don't have to hide it anymore because nobody looks. We're the exception. We're not the norm. Let's go to the phone line. Good morning, caller. You're on the Valdosta Transmission Hotline. What's on your mind today?
Good morning, Steve.
Joe, what's up, buddy?
Hey, man, it's the people that they're paying to vote for them. They're taking your and I's money, and then they're bribing these little low information, no information voters to vote for them. So, when you're making your living off the government graft, you're no different than the politician. You're just not getting as much as they are, but you'll keep voting for them.
Yep, we're defining insanity, no doubt. I mean, it's not one thing. It's a lot of things. It's the low information voter. It's the no information voter. It's the voter that's smart enough to cross party lines in a certain election and vote for the Republican, knowing that he'd be a better choice to go up against than another one. It's people getting paid to go cast a vote. It's the efforts of people registering voters that would never even vote, don't care to vote, but they may offer them an incentive to register and vote. It's all of it together. The problem is it's the law of large numbers. I say that a lot, but that concept covers so many things. We don't have enough people like the ones listening to this program and that will be listening to your program that vote. We're outnumbered. We are just outnumbered.
Well, somebody made a comment somewhere online, Facebook feed somewhere, I think on my Facebook page, but they were upset because people don't, pay attention anymore. I don't know that anybody even cares anymore, Steve.
No,
I don't
agree.
think that they don't pay attention.
I think you're
right. That they don't care past their own little world.
I think you're right. I don't disagree with that. I don't think they care. If they get to the point they don't care, they just feel like what they say or their vote don't matter. So as a byproduct of that, they don't care anymore.
I'd argue your vote doesn't matter anymore now anyway. Some of the things they're doing with the voting system right now is and it's not just ballot machines and mail-in ballots. There's all sorts of things. Let us not forget that Facebook alone bragged about the fact that they can push an election one way or the other by as much as 15% by manipulating your feed.
No doubt.
So, they're not bragging about something they can't do. They can do it. And they've probably proven it to themselves they can do it.
The biggest
media claim the same thing.
The biggest manipulation, and this is my opinion, the biggest one I've ever seen in my life was how the media utilized and manipulated the Hunter Biden story to influence the election. It was catastrophic and it was monumental and it's factual. I can prove it in the independent vote. When
the Hunter Biden story, but also Russiagate. They knew from early on that Russiagate was a hoax.
Yeah, in 19%,
and they played with it as though it was real.
19% of independents say that they would not have voted for Biden had they known that the Hunter Biden story had legs. It's just that simple. The math adds up that I'm not saying they had to go vote for anybody. The simple fact that they would not have voted for Biden would have swayed the 2020 election into Trump's camp. Period.
Yep. All sorts of things, man. I started something on the Facebook feed. I said that you shouldn't be allowed to vote unless you own real estate or have actually fought in a war.
Yeah.
Fought in a war. Folks, that's not Joe's idea. That was the founding fathers.
Yeah, it was in the Constitution.
Well, it wasn't in the Constitution, but they argued it. They argued early on that should be the requirement to be able to vote. They didn't want the right to vote to be just anybody. They wanted you to have skin in the game.
It wasn't in the one that passed, is what I mean. It was in the original drafting of the Constitution, but it just didn't pass.
Yeah. But I just wanted folks that are listening on, Facebook commenters to understand that all I did was put Joe's words to the founding fathers' ideas.
Mm-hmm.
So anyhow, I will, the test went well yesterday. I was
Good
on
deal.
our live test with Larry and my middle son, Kyle, who's our IT guy.
Mhm.
And we're all hooked up. We're going to run some tests throughout the week to make sure I know what I got to do to run everything.
That's right.
We'll start next Monday, week from today, 8 o'clock Central, 9 o'clock, Eastern, right after you go off the air.
I can't
And,
wait, brother. I can't wait. It's going to be a great thing.
Well,
I can't wait to promote
first
it.
week or so, I'm just going to rumble, bumble, and stumble my way through it. But we'll get it all ironed out and figure out. But my show will launch on a mission. We actually will be looking to reteach the principles of liberty.
Well, good deal,
So-
man. If anybody, I'll be listening. That's for sure. I'll probably have to catch it at night, on the rerun, but I will be listening. That's for sure.
Kyle's got some ideas that he might bounce off of Larry that'll eventually probably bleed over to your show as well. But he's got some ideas for throwing it up on podcasts
Yep,
and a few other things. That all that would happen the day after or something. But
that's right.
we'll get it done.
Yeah, Larry has
get it done.
been talking to me about the podcast thing for quite some time now. So I hope that what I hope is that iron sharpens iron. I know it does, and I hope that we'll have some ideas that cross over and make us both better, make the program better, make it reach more people. That's the mission.
That's the mission.
That's right.
If I'm going to do this, I'm going to go after it, brother. It's the only way I know how to do things, all out.
Do it,
Failure
brother.
is not an option.
Do it, brother. I'm ready.
All right, brother.
All right.
Y'all take care. Have
Yeah,
a good
man.
one.
You too. See you later.
Bye.
229-469-1417. Hunter. John Ford says, yeah, I mean, that's a big event. When you've got CNN's Brian Stelter now saying that Hunter Biden scandal is not just a right-wing media story, it may prevent Biden running in 2024. It is a serious problem. And just because you choose to turn a blind eye to it, John, doesn't make it not real. Joe just admitted, and Steve agrees. You never heard me agree with him. See, I just don't get that. I'm not saying I agree. I didn't say I agreed or agreed. I simply said it was in the original draft of the Constitution. I get it. I'll ask you, John, do you believe a person that has no clue about any of the candidates running, has no idea about policy, has no idea about how everything works, you think that person should be allowed to vote? I don't. Lord have mercy, that man. We want educated voters. That's all I do. I just want people to pay attention, that know what's happening. If they're going to be in a place that's going to influence my life, if they're going to cast a vote that's going to affect your life, would you not want them to be casting an educated vote? Surely you would. Good morning, caller. You're on the Valdosta Transmission Hotline. What's on your mind?
Steve, I don't got a lot of time because I got to get after my work here, set up some scaffolding, but I want to propose something.
Okay.
How about every midterm election cycle, every standard election cycle, whenever it's about to happen, you got to go take a test.
Mm-hmm.
You got to go take a test on the subject matter to see whether or not you know what you're voting for.
Mm-hmm.
And this is going to be months and months and months in advance of what's popping up.
No,
That way you get your license, you get your voter ID card,
mm-hmm.
and it's done with the same confidence that somebody would give you a driver's license or a hunting license or a permit to carry a firearm.
Mm-hmm. There's one major problem. There are two groups of people that would never, ever, ever allow this to happen. You know what two groups of people that is?
The Democrats and the Republicans.
Bingo. They would not allow that to happen. They would not. That would take away their ability to manipulate through the media, or through social media, or whatever. They're never going to allow that to happen.
You know what, Steve? I hope one day you get tired of being right all the time.
I'm not right all the time, but I do get it right. I mean, it's just there's just some basic things that I know, and I just cannot stand it, because what's going to happen, Jordan, is when we go to that poll on the second Tuesday, whatever, I think it's the second Tuesday of the month of November.
Yeah.
We're going to go and we're going to define insanity. We are going to choose either an R or a D, and we're going to expect a different result, and we're not going to get it.
Listen, man, all I know is that someday Mickey Mouse is going to win. I've been going strong. Someday Mickey Mouse is going to win.
I would love it if we woke up one morning and in a startling turn of events, though not on the ballot, a write-in candidate named Mickey Mouse has won the 2028 presidential election.
Oh boy, I'm going to go commit a war crime.
That's Donald Duck. All right.
This is not licensed material.
That's right.
WMDs, that's a surprise tool we're going to use for later.
Yeah, we're doomed, man. We really are. We're doomed.
Let it burn down.
Yeah.
Jeez, I'm over it.
Yeah.
I got to get to work.
See you, man.
Bye.
Bye. I don't know if I held this up. If I did, forgive me. But Larry, not my microphone over. Larry knew that I had a wore out, ugly, dirty, nasty, greasy mouse pad. So he ordered me another one with our logo on it. So Larry, thank you very much. I appreciate you doing that, man. I've been utilizing it this morning, and it does look a lot better. 229-469-1417. What's on your mind? Voting is a right in the Constitution. Yes. You are supposed to be all for the Constitution, Steve. Now you want to restrict rights? No, I want to utilize the portion of the Constitution that allows us to amend it. It's just that simple. I mean, I don't know why. Again, I ask you, you won't answer the question. Do you want someone who has no idea what's going on in this world, has no principles, no guidance, nothing? They ain't got a clue. You want them going and voting for things that affect you, John? Yes or no? Answer the question. I don't want no restriction of rights. I don't. 229-469-1417. What's on your mind? What do y'all want to talk about? Let me see here what the Bitcoin is doing. $24,150.09. It's up 3.3% over the past 7 days. It ain't going away, folks. I'm telling you, it's not. It's here to stay. Oil, Brent crude oil has dropped pretty good chunk. It's down to $93.95 a barrel. That's good news, no doubt about it. The demand for gas is going down. That to me, that coincides with the end of summer. That's probably helping things. It's curbing demand a little bit. The problem remains diesel fuel. That's what gets the goods and services to, or gets the goods to the store for you to buy, and that's what's causing them to be sky high right now. And then that's the problem. Good morning, caller. You're on the Valdosta Transmission Hotline. What's on your mind?
It's me again. The Alapaha River looks like it's disappearing again.
It's
getting the
dry.
Alapaha River report on the way to Florida.
It's drying up. Yeah, we needed rain yesterday and got it. So maybe, I don't know if it got it over there where that flows or not, but we got, Glenn said he got 2 inches at his house. And I know at my house, it started raining about 2:00 and it didn't stop until after dark. So it rained a lot.
Saw a hen turkey with about a dozen chicks. Now, what do you call baby turkeys?
Poults.
Chicks?
Poults. Poults. Poults.
She had about, I don't know, might not have been a dozen, 8 or 9, maybe 10.
Yeah.
Half-grown ones.
Yeah, that's about right.
Them hillbillies up in Maryland and West Virginia used to say they were good frying size.
Ain't much meat on a poult. There's no doubt about that.
They were about half grown. Man, they were running. They weren't flying. I mean, they could run. They
can
scattered
run.
all over the road. I tried to get a picture,
Yeah.
and couldn't quite get a picture.
Turkey.
I saw some in Lowndes County too the other day too. I was on the motorcycle. That's the second clutch I've seen in about 3 days.
I've seen several here lately. I took a good
I think I actually posted a picture of the ones from Lowndes a couple of days ago. I couldn't get the darn things about tipped the motorcycle over trying to get a picture of them.
I took a good video of there's a couple of hens, some poults, and a gobbler. I got them all on camera as they retreated, but got a little video of them. I was actually mowing grass yesterday, buzzing around on the lawnmower, looked over at my deer feeder, and there were 2 does eating out of the deer feeder, watching me mow grass. That's pretty cool.
Dang, yeah, I've been seeing a lot of deer. I've seen more turkey here in North Florida. Where is it? What's the first town, Jasper or Jennings over the border?
I can't remember. It's
Hell,
one of
I'm
those
driving
two.
through it right now.
I
I
think
couldn't tell you,
Jennings.
but-
I think Jennings is the first one, isn't it?
Jennings, yeah, that's where the Alapaha is. I'm right, yeah, right now. It's a beautiful little town, and there's just all kinds of wildlife I see every morning through here.
Mm-hmm.
Jasper, I'm in Jasper.
You're in
I
Jasper.
might have gone a little farther than I thought. Anyway, just thought I'd tell you that, give you the Alapaha update. You better be careful what you wish for. I keep telling you, you need to tune into South Park and see how they depict Mickey Mouse before you vote for him.
That's true. Yeah,
They paint a pretty bad picture of that old boy.
Yeah, I've not cast a vote for Mickey. I don't think I would, but I do think it. I really wish somebody would rise up on the independent side that would stoke the hearts of Americans, and that we would all vote for them and get them elected and do some damage to the Republican and Democrat national committees and machines and. We would have a chance then, but short of that, this duopoly's got us by the balls, and I don't think that's going to change.
I loved Perot. I go back every now and then, go on YouTube and listen to that little guy, and I swear, as far as I'm concerned, from my perspective, it looks like everything he predicted has come to pass.
Everything who predicted?
Ross Perot.
Oh, Ross Perot, yeah, okay.
Like he ran back in the 90s, I voted for him.
Yeah.
All my Republican friends said I helped Bill Clinton get elected the first time because of it.
Well, I
liked him because he brought visuals to the debates and arguments. He always had something he used citations, and that's big with me because I'm a librarian. I was even a librarian at heart back then, really, I guess. Yeah, he had substance to what he says, and he backed it up with facts and papers and visuals to back those facts up.
Yeah, I don't remember much about him. I was young at if it was 1990, I would have been old enough to vote, but that don't mean I should have been voting. But
in your 20s, man, I was starting to get with. I was in my late 20s, I guess. I've been 21, 22. I know. When I was that age too, I wasn't very politically active. I had some friends that were, but I find myself now, when I listen to, like, for instance, that young lady from Harvard, and I know I shouldn't feel this way, just the hopelessness of it just kind of overwhelmed me. And I thought, why am I, why? So I almost don't feel like going and voting anymore when I see what's coming. But I know I shouldn't feel that way or express it on this type of venue, but it's honestly the way I felt last night when I sat there and contemplated what she said and how it really just affected me more than anything I've heard in a long time. So I shared it on Facebook. I hope everybody listens to it. A couple of people asked me to post it, so I did.
One of the biggest predictions that Perot made was that if you pass, this was his comment, and he hit it dead on. He says, you implement that NAFTA, the Mexican trade agreement, where they pay people $1 an hour. They have no health care, no retirement, no pollution controls. And you're going to hear a giant sucking sound of jobs being pulled out of this country. And when he said that, it was met with a lot of fierce, immediate blowback. They argued he was dead wrong. And then that it just wasn't going to happen. And that's what helped him get a lot of votes. But it did happen. It did.
Yeah, I was going to say, what about that didn't happen?
Yeah. So, he was right on with that, which he wasn't the only one saying that. I think the Republican person running at the time was agreeing with him on the NAFTA deal, but it did come true. And we lost 850,000 jobs as a result of NAFTA.
Steve, if I'm not mistaken, and I'm going on total recall here as I'm driving down the highway, I think George Bush backed NAFTA, Big Daddy Bush.
He may have.
I do believe I think he did. It was tacit. Of course, Bill Clinton was arousing behind it rousingly, but I swear I thought Clinton or Bush signed off on it. I don't know. I thought Piro stood alone on that, but I could be wrong.
Clinton signed it into law. Clinton's the one that signed NAFTA into law. But you may be right as far as Bush supported it. He may have. I don't know.
Been a long time. I can't remember. I do remember this about Ross Perot. You heard the story how he got his people out of Iran during the Iran hostage crisis in the 70s?
I remember vaguely about it, but not the details.
Nobody knows the details.
Yeah.
But anybody that knows a little bit about it says basically he hired an international mercenary force and went in there and got his people out. He killed anybody that got in their way. When they were leaving, they killed anybody that got in their way. They got on the plane and flew his people out.
Good for them. Good for them.
Yeah. And he never talked about the details of it to the day he died. He refused to talk about it.
Yeah. He just had the money to get it done.
He got his folks out. Lost a couple, I think, but got most out. And it was a considerable amount, 30 or 40, I believe. And the folks he had working for his corporation, and he went and got them out. And if you got in his way, then he rolled them over.
Yeah.
Pretty cool. All right, man. Let's get back to it.
All right, brother. See you later.
All right.
229-469-1417. Some talk about whether or not turkeys can fly. Yeah, they can fly. How do you think they get in the tree to roost? They roost in the trees, and they fly up and down. As a turkey hunter, that's what you do is you try to call them down off the roost out of the tree, and they'll fly down into your decoy set, and you can shoot their heads off. That's the mission. That's what we try to do. It appears that George H.W. Bush was pro NAFTA as I look at this. So T-Rex was right on that. What else do we have here? I want to go over. We looked at the debt. We looked at the price of oil, CoinGecko. Okay, let's go back over here and see if we have any other late breaking news or anything that's come about as we run towards the end of the program here. I may have to take a quick break and go to the restroom, but we'll see. It just infuriates me every time I see this headline. It's the lead headline on Fox. I think they know it makes me mad, but the Democrat mayor ripping Texas governor after another busload of illegal immigrants brings border crisis to his city. I mean, maybe it'll wake him up and make him realize that this border policy. I just don't know, man. I don't know why he. I don't know. Maybe it'll wake him up and he'll say, "Hey, this ain't working." Good morning, caller on the Valdosta Transmission Hotline. What's on your mind today?
Hey, boy, what I wouldn't give to be the Texas governor this morning.
Oh, man, I'd be lighting him up, wouldn't you?
Yeah, sounds like somebody's over the target. I would respond by sending 10 buses.
Yeah, I think that's, I can't remember how many buses he sent to Washington, D.C. and New York, but that ain't the first one. And I think,
No.
And you're talking about, like I said earlier, you're talking about 40 people. I mean, they're dealing with tens and thousands per month, 200,000 last month. I mean,
that's what I mean. They got plenty of people to send. He sent one bus with 40 people, and it's gotten that much of an impact. But the guy that received the bus is not getting the point. So send him 10.
Yeah, I'd send 10 there, 10 to Chicago, 10 to Washington D.C., 10 to L.A., 10 to San Francisco. I'd hit every Baltimore, every big liberal city that could have. That's where I'd be sending them.
Yeah, if we can't send them back over the border.
No, we can't do that. That's against the law.
Mm-hmm. So use their own perverted law against them. Let them feel the effects of it. But
Exactly.
anyway, the reason that I called, you were talking a few minutes ago about having a requirement to take a test before someone could vote.
One of the callers suggested that. Jordan suggested
It.
Yeah.
You're going to have every registered voter required to go take a test before they can vote. You're going to, for one thing, that is incredibly complicating things.
Yeah, I wouldn't do it that
It's
way.
also,
I wouldn't do it that way. I'd do it. I'd tie it to landowners and or business owners who had skin in the game. That's where I'd start.
that's one way that's looked at it, and I'm getting to that. But the idea of having everyone go and take that test, that can be manipulated also.
Sure, it can. Absolutely.
Same as the voting machines that we have now. Yeah. It can be weaponized.
We've seen college students.
Incredible expense.
We've seen college
have to pay for all that testing.
Well, me and you can pay for that. That's long been determined that we got plenty of money. It'll just take more money for us to pay for it. But we've had college students. We've had college students manipulate test grades through computer systems before. So to your point, there's a lot of cheating that could go on into that system as well.
Yeah, maybe, but I'm thinking more. Suppose the teacher manipulates the test by cheating and not giving the credit to the student that the student deserves. See, in college, there's really no incentive for a teacher to do that, and we assume that the teachers have, educational integrity in those things. But when you have someone that is grading that test who follows one political philosophy, and he sees he's grading a test of a person that's very astute, and that person is in another philosophical
but see, I don't envision it. I don't envision it.
You see where I'm going with that?
Yeah, but I don't envision it that way. I don't envision the test to be administered by no teacher or anything like that. The caller was talking about, once you pass the test, receiving a voter card, you could, like the hunter safety system test that you have to pass to get your hunter safety card. It's all online. There's no teacher involved. You just, you read it, you read these things here, depending on what the questions would be, you could manipulate the questions. But if they were
sort
basic,
of like a civics test.
Yeah. I mean, it would be a more of a bland test, I guess. I don't think it would require anybody to go take a semester of class in front of a teacher. But to your point, if you did that, that's the same problem we have nowadays in our liberal universities. It's the teachers are, perverting it. So the test would have to be just a blanket administered test online, or I don't know where, you'd have to do it, but there would be an expense involved, and it would just, I don't know, it would be simple questions like, who was the first president of the United States? George Washington. It'd be 50 or 100 simple questions probably. Maybe dibbles into a little bit of the founding of the country. Maybe I don't know what the questions would be. But
that's not going to help us. It's going to have to be questions pertaining to current events and
let me tell you,
running for office.
I'm gonna have any effect. I'm gonna push back slightly on that because there was a survey that come out about 2 weeks ago, and I meant to showcase it here, where they interviewed 1,000 high school students, asking them who was the first president of the United States. 14%. Now that don't sound like a big number, really, but 14% of them couldn't tell you.
Didn't know.
They didn't know.
Yeah, that makes sense. Do you remember a fellow named Neil Bortz?
Oh yeah.
Neil Bortz, you remember him?
Oh yeah, definitely.
Mm-hmm.
Used to listen to him.
Idea. Neil Bortz was advocating when he, before his retirement from talk radio, that among the standards for being able to vote in this country, he maintained that anyone who was taking government assistance, any of the so-called safety net programs.
Hey, Jimmy, you breaking up terribly.
Oh man.
Hello.
Hey.
Hey, you there?
Hey, can you hear me?
I got you better now, I think.
Okay. I don't know why that happened, but anyway, Bortz took the position that anyone collecting any government assistance on any of the so-called safety net programs,
Mm-hmm.
getting a check or a housing, a car, a cell phone, anything like that from government should be disallowed from voting.
Mm-hmm.
In other words, you have to be a producer and not just a consumer to vote if you're able to produce.
Well, that'll never fly.
Yeah.
That's
Well,
an automatic
no,
win
I mean,
for the Republicans.
A lot of people are going to violently fight against that. I'm just
Yeah.
telling you what Neil Bortz's idea was.
Yeah, yeah.
I tend to agree and disagree with Neil Bortz on that.
Mm-hmm.
Personally, you know how I feel about the government assistance safety nets program. I think it's the province of charity, and I think the province of charity is not the province of government.
Right.
They should be kept separate because of the easy to understand conflict of interest that is going to inject itself into that arrangement, specifically buying votes. But I think that if we're going to have if we're going to have government involved in charity, then I believe that the standard should be someone who spends more than 6 months on government assistance, because unfortunate things happen to people who deserve to be helped. Hurricane, for example. Someone getting sick, losing their job. You see what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
But as a general rule, someone who is self-motivated, who has a unfortunate calamity like that in their life, as a general rule, they're motivated and they're going to bounce back. Within 6 months, they're not going to continue to be on that assistance. But we got people that get on it when they turn 18 or they're born into it. They stay on it all their life.
Generational welfare.
Yep. That's what we need to cut out at the ballot box.
Mm-hmm.
Because they're going to vote for a living, and they're politicians like the Bolsheviks we have in office now that are going to, support them and sell, and purchase them votes from them. I still maintain personally that if you simply repeal the 17th and the 16th Amendments, a lot of this problem will self-correct.
Maybe. I don't know. But you got to have you can't just repeal the 16th without something replacing it or some other mechanism in place to fund things. You follow what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So
government was funded before the 16th.
I know, but not without direction. So just repeal. So if you can't simply have a vote to repeal the 16th. The measure would have to repeal the 16th and implement this. You follow me?
Sure.
You got.
I don't disagree with that,
right.
and I haven't implied anything otherwise.
No, I'm not saying you have. I'm just pointing out the obvious.
It's a conversation we've had before, and we can have it. But a lot of our problems are stemmed. It was Woodrow Wilson that got the 17th Amendment passed, where the Senate came under the vote of the people instead of the appointment of the legislatures.
Mm-hmm.
It was also Woodrow Wilson that started calling this country and got all of us to calling ourselves a democracy.
Mm-hmm.
Now make the connection here. Now those that follow that kind of a political philosophy are going after the Electoral College. If they get that Electoral College done away with, guess what? When you say that we're a democracy, you're absolutely right. We'll be a pure democracy and we'll fall fast.
That's right.
We're hanging by a thread as it is.
Yeah. Do you know how taxes were collected prior to the 16th Amendment?
There were a number of different ways. It's in the Constitution.
Mm-hmm. It was all tariffs. It was all tariffs. It was all on goods and services. Maybe not services as much, but it was on goods. So we would have to take a look at. It's not an easy thing to tackle, because when you look at right now what we need to fund the federal government, if you don't change that, if you leave it the way it is right now, okay, and you say we're still going to spend $6 trillion, then you've got to come up with the percentage of tax across the board and on what you're taxing to raise $6 trillion. Now, when I calculated that 3 or 4 years ago, I believe we were spending about I think at that time, $3.6 trillion a year. And that figure came out to about 19.3%. So in other words, you'd have to tax everybody, every check that was written. It don't matter if it was a paycheck, a dividend check, the sale of stock, the whatever income gain you had, you'd have to tax it at 19.3 across the board. That was for somebody making $6 an hour and somebody making $60 an hour. 19.3% across the board, that would satisfy it. But we're spending a tremendous amount of money over that. So I'm guessing it would now take about 23% of all the incomes to pay for all the things that are out there right now: Medicaid, Medicare, Social Security, the military. I mean, everything, infrastructure, highways, everything, police, whatever, National Guards. So,
well, yeah, unfortunately, it would also require the trimming off of all of the usurped government that's been smuggled in under the guise of things like the Good and Plenty Clause and the General Welfare Clause, and put the government back within the enumerated powers. You do away with all the improper and unconstitutional government.
Yeah.
You're going to cut that chunk of money down in bulk.
That's right. So
That's going to have to be done.
So my whole point to point that out is that the problem is so large that you can't just take one singular action. There's got to be somebody that rises up and comes up with a way to get everybody to understand that everybody's got to cut and everybody's got to bleed. And until people are willing to bleed, it ain't going to work.
Commercial with
You're breaking up bad. Jimmy, I can't hear you. You garbled again. You're breaking up terribly this morning.
Apparently, there's something wrong in the Verizon service this morning.
I got you now, though.
Yeah, it depends on where I stand in my kitchen, Steve. It's frustrating.
I know it is.
So anyway, yeah, I mean, sure, there's ripples that are going to go out through the market with any action that government takes. Guess what? That also applies to the price of insulin. You know, the government makes a move to do something. It doesn't just encompass that thing directly. There's always going to be abstract points, and the ripples are going to go out through the market.
Yeah.
One of the things that our founding fathers constructed into the Constitution, and it took all the way until Woodrow Wilson in 1913 for them to overcome it. And I'll say it again, evidence exists out there. Do the research yourself that 16th and 17th Amendment was never properly ratified under Woodrow Wilson. There's differences in the wording from state to state, and supposedly some of the states that was claimed to have ratified it, there's no record in the state archives of them ratifying it. In other words, it was done by hook and by crook. But that being said, it wasn't until 1913 that they were able to get around that wall that our founding fathers put in the Constitution that said Steve Nichols and Jimmy Zinker could not be taxed directly. They could not do a direct tax on the citizen. You talk about a wall between church and state. There used to be a wall between the federal government and the individual citizen. See what I'm saying? And they abolished that, and that's led to a lot of the problems that we have. If there's going to have to be a tax on the citizen individually to finance that government up there, and guess what? I've got no problem with that if it's the proper government. It's every citizen's responsibility to fund proper government, period.
Yeah.
But there's a way to do it. You don't do it on what that citizen produces. That punishes self-motivation. That punishes a good, strong individual morality. You tax each citizen on what they consume. Everyone consumes, not everyone produces. Right. And when you start punishing production, you give an incentive to consume and not produce.
Yep.
And that leads in, right back where we started, safety net programs.
The problem is government, or not we necessarily, but the people let government get too big. That's a major problem. The government is involved in programs they shouldn't even be involved in. There's a lot of things that the state government should be handling that the federal government has meddled in. And if you recategorized everything, put a consumption tax out there, reined in some of this giveaway stuff, you'd get back. But the problem is government got so big, they've got so many numbers of people dependent on them they've got corporations dependent on them. Some corporations depend on
Oh,
the
yeah.
federal government. If they didn't get the federal contract, they'd be out of business. So they've created a
Well,
scope
that's
of
the fascist-
dependency
that's
that
the
we
fascist
cannot
element
even
within
fathom.
the government.
Yeah. That's
That'll
right.
go away whenever they start nationalizing everything,
Yeah.
because it'll all belong to the government anyway then.
That's
And it
right.
will get to that point.
Oh,
Like the old transmission repairman said, you can pay me now or pay me later. You know,
Yeah.
we can take an action like this to try to get ourselves back on track.
Right.
If we don't, then, you know, when this debt catches up and everything collapses, you'll pay the piper then.
Yeah. That's
You know,
true.
you just make your choice. And it looks like Americans have made their choice. You know, we have these conversations. It's interesting, and there's some kind of an allure to it when we talk about it, but we all know what's going to happen. We're going to wake up one morning and find your dollar's worthless. You can use it to heat your house.
There's not enough of
Put it in the
us.
fireplace.
There's not enough of us. There's just not. I mean, there's 24,000, listeners a month on one platform. We got a total of about 35, maybe 40. And Joe come on board, maybe we'll double that. But if we quadrupled it, we just don't have enough. We do not have enough.
Yep. You know, if there's anyone out there right now that's listening to this and now you're thinking, so then what's the point? The point is this. You need to understand what you're facing so that you will know how to take care of your own whenever the time comes to do so.
Yeah.
If you know there's going to be an economic collapse, you know this debt's increasing at $2 million a minute. We can't maintain it forever. And there's going to be consequences for the country when it catches up. Then you start preparing yourself for that.
Yeah.
Right now, gold is a dividend. There's going to come a time when lead's going to be a dividend. Mark my words.
Yeah. I don't know. Maybe. I don't have that much faith in us.
Oh, in a collapse, yeah, it will, because you're going to need to defend your. They call it I think they refer to it now as the zombie apocalypse.
Yeah. I think bullets will be
The
a premium
entities other
for
than government you're going to have to defend against.
Yeah, I think I don't know, man. I don't know how that fight looks like. I think the premium for a bullet's going to be to eat before it will be to defend.
Yep. Well, there's that too.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what a poor deer in the woods is going to do when everybody starts hitting the woods with rifles looking for something to eat.
John Ford says, I must have a different definition of freedom than he does. I think that's an understatement.
Who said that?
John Ford.
Oh.
Yeah, I think that's an understatement. All right, Jimbo. Good stuff, man.
Yes, sir.
All right, we'll see you later.
Take care.
All right, bye. 229-469-1417. We're on the tail end here. Got about 6 minutes left, and I'll be out of here. Yeah, I mean, it's all intertwined. There's no one, you can't make one statement that covers everything because it's all intertwined. One leads to another, I've described it this way before. It's a malignant cancer. It's the type of cancer, in your brain. If you have brain cancer, there's basically two types. There's one that grows in a well-defined tumor, a ball. You'll hear somebody say he's got a tumor in his head the size of a golf ball or marble. That's a well-defined tumor, and they hope that they can get in there and they can cut it out and heal you of cancer. The other type is a malignant cancer that grows intertwined in the brain. It has tentacles like an octopus, and it gets wrapped up and just all stuck in the portions of your brain, and they simply cannot remove it because it's too far reaching, and its tentacles have gotten too long and too intertwined to dig out of there without damaging your brain further. That's what we have with our U.S. government. It has gotten too far to cut out. Now, when I say that, it's not really too far to cut out. We don't have a surgeon or a team of surgeons willing to cut it out. And behind the surgeons are the people saying, I don't want to take the chance on doing that, man. We can't do that. We can't. It's too risky. We can't do it. Everybody wants to cut but nobody wants to bleed. We could fix this problem. This may be an arrogant statement, and if it is, so be it. But I believe that I could fix it. I do. But I don't believe even you listening could stomach it. And that's the bigger problem I see. I believe that if I ran for president or whatever, that almost everybody on here would vote for me. And I also believe when it came time for re-election, that none of you would. And that's why I don't run. I'd be the most hated president in the United States of America. I couldn't get nothing done. I'd be a train wreck. I couldn't. I'd ask, for bills to be put out there to vote. They'd all get voted down because ain't nobody everybody wants to cut. Nobody wants to bleed. What I mean by that is, if the cut doesn't affect you and make you bleed, you're all for it. But when I take yours, you're going to be mad at me. And the problem is to save this country economically, I'm just talking about economically now. I'm not even talking about liberty and getting back to the values of the Constitution. I mean, my God, one gigantic problem, after another. On the economic side of things, we have to cut everything. We're $30-something trillion in debt. We got $200 trillion in unfunded liabilities. This is not going to be able to be sustained. It's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when, okay? When will you go to the ATM with your card and it say, sorry, try again tomorrow? That's what's happening. It's not if, it's when. That's going to happen. That's going to happen in my lifetime, I'm afraid. Assuming I live to be, 80. That's 25 more years. It's going to happen in my lifetime at this rate. Now, if something happens and we slow it down, maybe we can stretch it out further. But at this pace, it's going to happen in my lifetime. So in order to stop that, we got to cut everything. We got to cut your Social Security check, your Medicaid, your Medicare, your food stamps, your tax deductions, that homeowner interest. No, man, you can't do that no more. No, we got to cut everything. We can't pick and choose, because the minute you say, okay, man, you said cut Medicaid, Steve, Medicare, Steve. You got so many elderly dependent on that. We cannot, man. Look, man, I'm with you, but we can't cut Medicare. Okay. Well, as soon as you decide not to cut Medicare, then you got to take all that money that you were going to cut there, that percentage that you were going to cut. It's got to come from somewhere else. Where? We'll cut it out of Medicaid recipients, food stamp recipients. What about the military's pay? We'll take all that out of theirs. Now, understanding it's got to be cut too. You take it out of that budget, the military budget, the highway budget. I don't know. Aaron says more like 65 trillion. I don't know what he's talking about there. Right now, the current national debt is 30 trillion. The U.S. total debt is 91 trillion. And unfunded liabilities, let me see if I can scroll over a little bit. Unfunded liabilities are about, according to this, there's so many things on here, I can't even find it. $170 trillion. Social Security liability, we owe Social Security, or the liability we owe our citizens, is $22 trillion. Medicare, the health care that we owe our citizens that we paid into it, like Social Security, $34 trillion. Anybody want to cut it though, right? All right, that's it. Appreciate y'all hanging out. Been a great day. We'll be back and do it again tomorrow, same time, 6 a.m. See you guys in the morning. Had a great show and looking forward to tomorrow. Y'all have a great day. Stay dry, stay hydrated, and don't overdo it. See y'all tomorrow.
We at Freedom with Steve Nichols want to thank each and every one of you for listening. Together, we will protect, defend, and promote the freedom as our founding fathers envisioned. We believe in the spirit of the Declaration of Independence and strive to protect that spirit daily. Please thank and utilize the goods and services of our sponsors and advertisers every chance you get. For now, we bid you farewell. Have a great day.